All right, all right, all right. All right, all right, all right. Man, every time I say all right, all right, all right, I figured that I'm caving into my kids, right? I feel like my kids have been bugging me to, I don't know, take him out to the park or purchase him a popular video game, whatever, right? But it's like I'm resisting and I'm saying no and no and no until they get, you know, down to my last nerve, and then I'm like, all right, all right, all right. Well, good even fall to one and all. This is Warp Speed, and I hope you are doing well of health and sane of mind. Mr. Vince Vargas starts off the show by saying good even fall. Mr. Big League Chew. Vince, so uh, I was trying to look for that episode, right? I forget if it was in the Homie Ricky channel or if it was on my own channel, but I was trying to. It had to be Homie Ricky because we had just most recently started, and I was going through a lot of those episodes, right? We used to go on 2, 3 hours, sometimes even 4 hours. I remember we had I think a 6 hour episode ended at around 2 o'clock in the morning, started like around 8 or so. And I was listening in to see if I captured that moment where I discuss my story about the big league chew because that was a very momentous, very scary uh, moment in my life, and of course, it turned out to be a big inside joke between you and I and the homie Ricky and Dream123. So thank you very much. I'm still looking for it though. I'm still looking for it. I hope you are doing well, Vince, and thank you very much, man, for hopping on here. I know that you've been meaning to catch up. I know that you hit me up through the Instagram. I've been meaning to catch up with you also. Thank you very much for being here faithfully, loyally, and being the first one always. So I appreciate that. Really, I do, Vince. And anybody else that's gonna hop on, I think Dream is gonna be hopping on this. The homie Ricky is gonna probably be doing wrench work on the chat. He he thinks that the topics that we will be discussing today aren't really interesting or noteworthy, right? I mean, yeah, I know, Vince, but you get that notification bell. But a lot of my listeners don't, right? Because let's be real, right? Our lives barely maybe get at most 180 views, and most of the time they're just people passing by, right? They see a live channel, somebody scrolls up or down, they land on it, they hear some guy talking about boxing, they're like, oh, okay, another opinionated blowhard, right? I get it, right? We're not for everybody, even when you give us a chance, right? I am an individual that I do try to look at things in a fair and balanced way. I guess I watched enough Fox News to always claim to be that. But at the end of the day, it really boils down to me being like any other person, any other fan of the sport of violence, right? Through boxing, I just care about exciting fights. So, of course, I'm going to be biased towards that end right there. I'm not trying to downplay the quote unquote sweet science. I'm not trying to, belittle any fighters, but sometimes there will be victims along the way in the formation of my opinions. But for the most part, I do try to be very fair and right down the middle, calling it as evenly and as truthfully, especially as possible. But homie Ricky thinks that there is no value in the topics that I am to address in tonight's live. And they include Manny Pacquiao's retirement. Think about that. Manny Pacquiao's retirement. What do you mean, warped speed? What do you mean he's retired? He has a fight coming up with Mario Barrios. I get that, right? But we'll talk about why it is a retirement even after, even before, really, before he even fights Mario. And what it all means to the sport that he is retiring and yet he still has a fight. We will be addressing one of the most important things for anybody that has aspirations to be managers and aspiring boxers, right? The dispute and eventual severance of partnership between Mr. Sam Lukowitz, who I reached out to, and he responded back, and his ward, Edwin de los Santos. Let me take this call, guys. One moment. Yo, bro, I'm waiting on you, bro.
My bad. I'm opening it right now, dude. It's because yeah, I had to help out my sister with something right now. It was like an emergency kind of.
Hey, bro, family first, bro. There's there's no dispute, bro. You go and handle that. I'll be right here, just holding it down.
Yeah, I got your thing though. I got your email.
Alrighty. Yep. Hop on when you can, brother.
All right.
Hey, peace. That's Dream123. Gold member. It's been a hot minute. Absolutely, it has. If you don't mind, I'm just gonna go and say who you are, gold member, ladies and gentlemen, the one and only Harimeri. Two of my favorite people on the inner spaces, the internets. Mr. Vince Vargas and Harimeri have joined us. So thank you very much, gentlemen. But we are going to be discussing that separation between Mr. Sam Lukowitz and Edwin de los Santos under what I consider to be very unusual circumstances. There's a lot of other stuff that's not being told, some rumors and whatnot. We'll address them all. I think that's a very important topic to discuss, even though it may be a week and a half old. We have not had much discussion about it. There is actually not a lot written about this very important uh, episode in the sport of boxing recently for a very momentous and important fight that took place 2 weeks ago. So, or should have taken place, right? So we'll discuss that. We'll be discussing the comments between Canelo and Crawford about how they plan on fighting each other. Um, that's really the topic of the day, right, guys? Everybody probably has an opinion. They probably hopped in a lot of different channels, probably read a lot of different things. You probably are more caught up in the sport of boxing even more so than myself, even though here I am thinking like I'm some kind of announcer or reporter for all things organized violence through boxing. But hey, that's how it happens. I don't claim to know everything. I just claim to be one of the biggest, more interested parties here because I do want to shape the career of my son into a professional fighter. So we're going to be discussing that. And there was another thing that I wanted to talk about, MC. It should be on the it should be on the title, but whatever you guys want to talk about, we'll discuss it. But I'm just going to start off by saying this: this is not a political show, unless you want to consider boxing an extension of politics, which it is, right? But I just wanted to say that I'm very disillusioned by our president, Donald Trump. It's going to be real quick, guys. Please don't hop off, right? Um, but I am an individual that is what you would call apolitical, right? I don't really care too much about politics because if I care anything about these politicians and these rulers of the world, these you know superior race individuals, these Illuminati folk, all I can say is that my emotions run more towards the side of hatred, resentment, and whatnot. Yes, I do believe in freedom. Yes, I do believe in law and order. Yes, I do believe in nation states, but that's because of necessity, right? We have too many people with two different opinions, two different cultural upbringings and colors that we just have to have some kind of borders, right? To distinguish a people of like mind versus people of a different mentality. But I cannot deny the fact that Donald J. Trump, an individual that ran on the premise of no wars, peacemaker, he has attacked an independent country basically to defend another independent country, acting like its bitch, right? The US of A meddled into the affairs of Iran and Israel, and now we're maybe a few bad dialogues from going to war with a country that has never done nothing to us. Iran hasn't attacked us. In fact, we attacked them many times before, since the 1970s with the Shah of Iran, right? What was it? Jimmy Carter making that big old spectacle, and then Ronald Reagan coming over here and sending out some American troops to go into the embassy, take out a couple of Americans from that country that they held hostage. Very brave, very valiant individuals going over there to rescue these Americans trapped over there in that country. But even before then, in the 50s or so, when we went over there and overthrew the country of Iran with the Shah of Iran, we have meddled into those affairs. And I'm a hippie, guys. I'm a hippie. I'm a peace loving individual, right? I am not a stranger to partaking in the smoking of weed. I'm not a stranger to telling people I love them or wishing them the best or helping on my fellow man. No, I'm a hippie, guys. So if I say that I am discouraged by the going ons with the world right now, and especially with the participation of our dear President Donald J. Trump starting these wars, I gotta tell you, an apolitical individual like myself that prefers not to vote when he goes out there to the ballots and votes for this guy is under the premises that I keep a man and hold him to his word. If the guy says he doesn't want to go to war and he's not going to start any wars, that's why I'm going to vote for him. If he says he's going to defend America by closing off the borders from invaders or people that come over here, ne'er do wells, or maybe even people that are coming over here to do good, but they're still hopping the borders and whatnot, I understand we have to protect them. I'm not holding that against them. But when you go and send our American fighters to defend other countries, Israel, who does not need any defending, guys. Those guys can take over the world all by themselves. In fact, they probably do by their own technological advancements, right? Their spy network and whatnot. They don't need America's help. Let them solve their own disputes. Leave us Americans to be. Land of the free, home of the brave. It should be not to be more like land of the weak and home of the slave. We have become enslaved to these puppet masters that they manipulate us every single time saying that America is the greatest and that we're under attack when we're not. We're going over there to other countries starting the slaughterhouse, killing innocents for things that do not concern us. And all because of these profiteers, Northrum, Raytheon, all these people that make jets and atomic bombs. That's all we're doing, guys. We're passing the buck. We're literally passing the buck through our tax dollars, hard earned greenbacks, being taxed so we can hand that money over there to these merchants of war, these members of the military industrial complex that they want to enslave us through debt increase and by killing others and even killing ourselves, right? Just call through the weak, enslaved through impoverishment, debt, while they get rich. And then they use that money and that wealth to attain land, limit our space, limit the available homes that are for sale, developing only apartments so that we can be a renter slave instead of owning something.
Hey, let me know what. Sorry to interrupt.
Who are you? Who
I
are
am
you, bro?
I am a visitor, but let me know when I can talk so I can play my intro. but you're cooking right now.
Bro,
You're
you know what?
cooking.
No, no, no,
You're
no.
cooking
Now
right
I'm
now. I
interested,
mean,
bro. I want to hear your intro, bro. I want to hear. Forget
are
this
you
part to
done
talk.
talking though? You're a cook?
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
yeah, man. I'm just venti, bro. I'm just disappointed in Trump. That's it,
Mm,
bro. I mean, and you know what? A lot of the time, it's not even disappointment in Trump. It's more like the fact that people take our president uh, and misconstrue what he wants to do. All he's saying, let's protect our borders, and all these vigilante bounty hunter type are saying, well, let's just kidnap everybody that's brown, right? That's really what I'm more disappointed about. Um, and the fact that people like Gavin Newsom, California's governor, hasn't allowed concealed weapon permits to be expanded only so that Californians can start protecting themselves against these people that are acting and usurping the roles of border patrol and ICE agents, only to kidnap them and then leave them in these vans over there in the desert to dehydrate and die. Right? That's what I'm disappointed about. But otherwise, yeah, man. Let's see. Gold member says Iran, Tehran, Ed Sheeran, USA in four. Oh, absolutely. We'll never lose that battle. We'll never lose that battle, Adi. We'll never lose that battle.
yeah,
America's
it's like
too
let me know
strong.
when we won.
Well, I mean, you know, everybody says that America hasn't won a war since Vietnam, bro. How are you gonna tell me that we killed like 500,000 people and we only lost like 40,000, bro? In my book, that's a victory, right? When we went in Iraq and we slaughtered about 4 million people and we only lost 4,500 people or whatever, dude, that's a victory.
Yeah,
That's just it.
when I did security, I think I was working with like two of them that was out there in Afghan,
Uh,
putting in that work. You
yeah,
know, so that experience, bro, like just me being a security guard for
yeah.
that short time span,
Mhm,
um, I realized like there's a lot of these guys that do go are from the military, and
mhm.
and they actually tell you stories like what they go through and the work they put in and what they get in compensation and all that, and just dude, it's like almost not worth it in a sense, but they had the guts to do it. And it
Yeah.
usually takes like a 20-year-old, or I mean a fresh out of high school kid, to do it, and yeah, so there's those people that end up doing two terms, and
Mhm.
salute to them, because that's why we're number one. But
Yeah,
I'm not
yeah.
saying, I'm saying with Trump, I mean, I feel like we're all too uneducated about the whole. Some of us do know what's going on as far as like laws that have been passed and what you can do and what your rights are. And some
Mhm,
people are just on it, bro, and just know their laws and all that. But I feel like some
mhm,
of us, like myself, kind of just don't know why Trump did what he did as far as like the immigration and attacking like countries and all that. Like,
mhm.
I feel like I need to know more, because like I'm not making money on stocks, but I mean I'm making money on crypto, you know? So it's
Mhm.
like I don't know where this is gonna be bad for me, and people are mad about it, obviously, but what's you know, we like I
Well, look,
really
if you
don't.
want to make money, bro, if you want to make money, invest in like Raytheon and Northrop Grumman and all those companies that develop weapons, right? That's what
Yeah,
you
yeah,
should be doing.
yeah,
Boeing
yeah,
and everything. That's what you should be doing.
yeah.
But
Well,
I'm just talking about how I gave a guy a chance, right? I don't vote much for any politician, right? Because at the end of the day, I think they're all related. They're all corrupt, right? So
yeah,
I don't like to be that guy. And when I vote for the guy and I give him a chance, here it is. He betrays everything that he ran on, and that's the thing, though.
but
Just like we hold people to account on boxers when they say something and they don't live up to it, we shoot them out. That's exactly what I'm doing with Trump. He said something, he didn't live up to it. That's all I'm doing. I'm not doing anything else. I don't need to um, find out more about what happened and everything. All I know is this: nobody attacked America, and we attacked another country. And he said he wasn't going to do that, right? Uh,
yeah,
he said he was going to protect the borders, and he is doing that. But along the way, he's also paying people to just kidnap people. I'm not too sure if you know this, right? But there
Uh,
was a van of presumed illegal immigrants, right? That
mm,
I guess they just picked them up. Maybe they were brown. They did. I mean, what are these guys supposed to do? Carry their green cards with them, their birth certificates to indicate they're Americans? They just kidnap brown people. These guys that you can buy these suits off of Amazon that say customs enforcement, ICE, or whatever. They just put them on. They're wearing their jeggings. They're and their flip flops. They just pick them up because they got AK-47s and long arm rifles, right? And they pick them up, throw them in the van, put them in the desert, and they found them 12 days after, or something like that, right? A stolen ICE vehicle. 12
mm,
people packed in there, and apparently just left to die, right? That's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about how many innocent people, and I'm not saying that that if a person comes over here and jumps the border illegally and whatnot are innocent. That's not what I'm talking about. How many people
do you
are
think they're innocent?
gonna well, I don't know. You have to have due process, right? You don't just say you're innocent. You have to prove that they're not innocent.
Right,
They're
but if they
just
get
forgiven.
caught jumping, if not jumping doing the act though, but
Of course,
like
if they get caught, yeah, we know they're not innocent, bro.
all right, just
I'm
checking,
just
just
saying,
checking.
yeah. Of course, there's, but I'm just saying, like, that's still not the right thing, right? There's a thing like a due process, right? That's why, Torquemada and all those Spaniard, I think it was a Spanish guy, those Spaniard tortures. When they used to just basically be kings and queens, they would get anybody and say you're guilty, and then they just put you to the ringer, like literally through the ringer. They would put you into these like sticks, right? And they would just wring you in half, just like when you get a towel and you just fold it in half and then you just like twist it. Your left hand goes, back, and your front goes forward. They would just twist a person and rip him in half, right?
Dang.
Put him in. Yeah, man, we were vicious back in the day, bro. And then by we, I'm talking about humans, right?
Yeah,
But that's what I'm saying. The
because we didn't
reason
know
why
we
we
didn't
are
have guns.
civilized, we didn't have guns. Well, we had, yeah, we probably
No,
didn't
I'm
have
saying
guns then.
not like yeah. So they're like, oh, I want to murder you. How do I murder you?
yeah, yeah. No, but I'm trying to get at the fact that we're supposed to be civilized. The reason why
Yeah,
there's laws created order is because we are supposed to work hard to prove that we are the higher being. Right? We are not as animalistic as to say a
gosh.
monkey or a rhino and otherwise. And no, man, we're becoming base and primal like we have before. But why don't we just that's a wrestling move.
What happened?
Man, Mr. Vince Vargas says that's a wrestling move.
Mm,
Yeah. Well, let's get down to brass tacks. Dream. So, have you been following the news? Have you been following boxing news in particular?
yeah, yeah. I mean,
Okay.
for the most part, yeah. Just I've been, that's because I've been working a lot, so I'm just listening to like podcasts and all that,
Mm.
So
Okay. So, what is the news of the day, man? What is interesting? What is going on in the sport of boxing currently? Because
um,
I'm gonna be addressing a few things that happened like a
yeah,
week or two ago that I find
yeah,
to be important, but it's still I want to hear what's going on.
yeah. So yeah, right now, I mean, Brian Norman just came off a win, that knockout win, and
Incredible knockout win.
yeah, what a man. They did a good job, bro. Like that, I felt like it was a risk, going all the way to Japan and
Mhm.
fighting an unknown fighter, that you don't know anything about, and
Yup.
fighting in their hometown or their country, and must have been really worth it. And at the end of the day, it paid off, like as far as money wise, and it must have been worth it enough to go there, get a highlight reel, and get, man, really just made a name for yourself, like you're building your name now, like this is what you do. And it takes risk, sometimes. But yeah, I think he needs to, in order to like build his resume more. I think he should continue doing what he's doing, fight the fight the top names. But honestly, I've been watching more and more of his fights. And honestly, he
In a
might
different
be
light, in a different light, right? Now that he's becoming this destroyer, you're going back and watching his fights in a different light.
yeah. So now I'm like rejudging it, and I'm like, I think you're improving, but
Significantly, bro. Like
yeah,
that's
I
one of
think
those guys that you look at it and you're
just
like, yo, this guy keeps getting better and better.
just night and day. It's like this is a
Yep.
thing. It's a mindset. Yeah, people don't pay attention to the mindset a fighter is going through, and sometimes you just got to listen to the interviews, man. Like sometimes, man, these fighters are just unmotivated, and it's really keeping away from.
Cubole DMG, the Mexican G says, Cubole camaradas, Mex G. From Mr. Vince Frank.
No,
Sorry about that dream. Continue.
no, but you don't know what motivation does to a fighter, you know.
Yup.
And honestly, when he beat Santillan, I realized that was a perfect styles fight. Like that was his style. That was a tailor-made fight for him to win. Not taking any way, no credit, because he was always a hard puncher. But dude, I
Mhm,
seen him in person,
mhm,
right? And he was getting his head popped back too much. I was like,
mhm.
this is like a nobody, right? Like, in a sense. And
Yeah, yeah,
and
that's true. You did
and
say
so
that.
that's what made me not want to pay attention to him anymore. And I was like,
Mhm,
nah, and honestly, I seen him and when he was walking out the ring, and he's like my size, like
mhm.
he's like what I'm supposed to be, like 5'9", 147, and he has like good measurables, and he just looks like a completely different fighter now,
Yup.
and I think and I've seen what motivation does to a fighter, bro. When you get a belt, you do not want to let it go. Like you want to continue, and it's to secure a check, and that's honestly that would make me motivated enough, right then and there. Like I'm changing my family's life every single fight. The more I win
Mhm,
with this belt, the bigger the check gets. That's my
mhm.
mindset. Like as
Well,
a
think
as
about
a
it. Just
money
think
hungry
about it.
guy,
Well,
as a
okay.
poor
Well,
man.
forget the whole money thing, right? Let's just look at the fact that you're holding one of the straps, right? All the people that have fought to get a belt. You run through all of the names. You run through all of the generations. How long the belt's been there, right? And you look and you're like, of about 8 billion people in the world, I am one of the only people right now at this moment that I can say right here, right now, I am the greatest in the world.
And honestly, they can
It's
build a name,
incredible.
and they can continue to build their name because they're from Atlanta. Atlanta got a
Doesn't even
champ.
have boxing like that.
Exactly. And Atlanta finally has a world champion. So it's
Yup.
like build your name in Atlanta, but I heard that interview because I listened to, the boxing voice salon there. They just had Brian Norman on right now.
Oh,
And
nice.
yeah,
Right
and he
now?
was right, yeah, right now. And Bill Haney jumped on too.
Wow.
But yeah, and they're,
He's always there.
yeah, I know he's always there as a guest, but what's his name? Brian Norman was saying, why fight? He's like, I don't even care about fighting in Atlanta. I want to fight all over the world because we are world champions. I was like, okay,
Wow. That's,
okay. If
that's the
you fought,
throwback fighter, bro. That's the
but
throwback
dude,
fighter.
you're asking a lot for ESPN or for Top Rank to do. And then after that, when he said that,
Actually,
hold on, when he said
I'll
that,
contradict
when
that.
when he said that, um, he- when he said that, he said, "But at the end of the day, I'm not the one that makes those decisions, so I'm willing to fight wherever, whoever, or him, his son, So
Mhm.
they even mentioned the Boots fight, but it sounds like they're willing to fight him, but they're just letting him marinate and they're just collecting these checks before they have to risk letting their belt because they know where the threat is, and why not fight guys you think you can beat that say are potential world champions, in Top Rank, get sweep out that house, sweep your house before you sweep other people's house, and like he has to go across the street for Boots, so it's like that's too much work, that's too much work. You like risk to reward. It's like I have Boots beating him, bro, so they're thinking risk to reward, and I can't blame them. Like if I was Brian Norman, I had that belt. Like me, as far like my opinion, I did not think he would be a world champion, bro. But for him
Mm.
to be a world champion, I'm taking full advantage of of my belt and
Mm.
taking less risk for more money. You
Okay,
know,
okay, okay. So here's the thing. Let's just address one of the things that you said. You said it's asking a lot of top rank to promote Brian Norman Jr.'s aspirations to fight all over the world, right? But the fact of the matter is, Dream,
how often
that
do they fight outside of the country though?
well, let me explain why that's been happening. So I don't know if you know this, but it seems like Top Rank will not be it will not have its contract renewed by ESPN or ESPN Plus in this case, right?
Mm.
So they're going to be losing that network. So when you start talking about a separation of business, such as broadcasting rights to top rank fights, that means that ESPN is no longer going to be providing financial subsidies to your company, which means that you now have less reserves to invest in making and in promoting fights, right? So because you're now having a lessened, decreased revenue, now you're just by nature gonna have less fights. So when Japan offers to take one of your fighters and give him an opportunity to make big money, from what I hear, Brian Norman made good money over there in Japan.
Yeah,
You're gonna take it because Mr. Bob Arum and Top Rank, they're going to get a cut from the promotion fee, right? And they're keeping their fighter busy. And of course, Bob Arum, always the wise man, he knows about matchmaking. He has some of the best matchmakers in the world. They know that Brian Norman can go over there, impress, and open up markets in Japan and destroy that fighter, which in fact he did. And I assure you, the Japanese were very impressed by it, right? Because that's one thing. The Japanese are fair. The Japanese, you ain't gonna go over there to Japan and they're gonna rob you. If you beat one of their fighters convincingly, they're gonna give it to you. They're not like that. They're very honorable individuals. There's exceptions to the
yeah.
rule and whatnot, but Brian Norman went over there. They gave him a fair shot, and in fact, he didn't leave it to the Japanese to give him a fair shot. He took the dub by force, knocking out the guy in one of the most incredible, spectacular knockouts this year so far. In fact, I pray for the well-being of of his Japanese opponents because man, I think I slowed down because I'm not too sure if I ever uploaded it, but the Madman, he made a short, and we were, because I was helping him edit, we were slowing down the video where his Japanese, I forget what his name is, the opponent's head bounces off the tarp. And man, I think it hit like 4 times, bro. That's a
What?
lot of back dorsal head injury. It's very bad, right? And of course, everybody's talking about how the Japanese fighter cannot remember what happened the last 4 weeks, which means he doesn't remember anything building up to the fight. He doesn't remember training for the fight. All of the past month and a half is basically a blur, right? That is the reason why we respect fighters here. We respect them for their sacrifice for our entertainment, guys, right? And just because you lose, you're not gonna get a bad word from me because, bro, we all win and lose in life. Nobody's gonna, walk over there with their head held high and say, I'm a winner absolutely in life. Come on, bro. You're a loser just like the rest of us. In fact,
Mhm.
you're a bigger loser because here I am sitting talking about these guys, right? So I'm not going to be the one to ever diss a fighter. But I will say this: Brian Norman Jr. looks day and night from the guy we just saw maybe about 3 or 4 years ago fighting locally, looking very
Stockton.
vulnerable. Yeah, very stoppable. Very, very
Oh,
stoppable. And in fact, you have to think about it now, Dream.
I said in
One of the most
Stockton.
in Stockton, yeah, yeah, yeah. Well,
He's not
unstoppable too.
unstoppable. He's not
Yeah, no, he's
unstoppable.
not.
Take,
But in fact, I wanted to tell you one of the biggest lamentable things in the sport of boxing really right now is the fact that the same week that this guy knocks out this guy in an incredible fashion, Boots Ennis the day before chooses to officially abandon 147 and go up to 154, right? And when I saw this fight, man, I was just thinking, man, Boots and Brian Norman Jr. was the fight to make. Everybody talking about Boots would have watched this guy. Nah, not with that catch and shoot style, not with that power. No way,
Yeah.
right? It's sad that that fight ain't happening, but it's okay. It's okay. I'm sure that Boots Ennis is gonna do some incredible things at 154, even though the division is higher. So we're not calling Boots bum. We're not calling Boots a weight bully. In fact, he's going up there to test himself with bigger men and a more packed division than 147 right now. So yeah, it all makes sense. But yeah, Brian Norman, I don't think he necessarily has to start milking his belt like you implied, which means he starts taking softer touches just to make money. No, 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 no,
No,
no.
no, no.
Um,
I didn't soft touches. I mean, like, there's still talent in Top Rank, bro. Like,
yeah.
you still have guys that can potentially beat him in there. So I didn't say. I just said sweep the
Like who?
house.
Like what's his name? Blair the Flair Cobbs, or so I don't
Nah.
mind watching that fight.
Yeah, me neither. That's actually a pretty good fight right there.
Mhm.
Just
For some
because
easy money and a good challenge.
I think it's a solid challenge. You know, that's a name.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh, they can still. I'm still thinking about. I'm still trying to think. They have Yoelnis. Fuck, what's his name? He's a Dominican or Puerto Rican or something like that. I forget his name, but they definitely got 147 talent in there, bro. That's what I'm saying. They always do, bro. Like they at least sweep the house, and say you're the best. Like there's still guys that are credible names, bro. And Boots is the one that's gonna get the softer touches, if anything. But he's trying to move up to 154. So um, I don't know how that's gonna work. So that's why that fight's not even gonna happen, bro. Like not anytime soon, at least. Like Brian Norman has to sweep that. Like has to put in some work, bro. Like he needs to in order to even be considered to fight at 154, because that's the only way that he's gonna be able to fight a Boots, So I mean, dude, I don't see him getting past the 154 division, bro. Like, I mean, there's still Haney who could potentially move up. Um, I think Haney beats Norman, but I
Whoa,
say
whoa,
that
whoa, whoa, whoa,
I say
whoa,
that
whoa! That bro,
yeah, yeah,
that's a controversial statement, bro.
it is. It is. I'm
Wow,
not.
guys, did you guys just hear what this guy said?
Yeah,
Devin Haney, Chinny, Devin Haney,
yeah.
soft pillow hands, Devin Haney, the guy who backtracked the whole time against JC Ramirez. That guy can beat Brian Norman Jr.
Yep.
Wow, man,
Yep.
guys, you guys better go crazy in those comments, bro,
You guys,
because that is
gotta
outlandish.
understand. You gotta understand. Styles makes fight, bro. Like if you're not a good boxer, if you are just a brawler, you have no fundamentals, guys from the lower divisions can beat them. Unanimously. Like skills can take you far. Like and you have to earn the right to move up, obviously, and only Crawford is able to do that. But I'm telling you, Devin can beat a lot of fighters at 154 who are like just brawlers. But obviously, if they have the same type of solid fundamentals and like a solid jab, and good timing, I mean, yeah, he's. I'm not calling him the best 147 pounder. I'm calling him probably like one of the better. He moves up. He's already like one of the better like pure boxers in that division. But he's because he's not going to be punching like that. He's just going to be on his bicycle, who almost every fight at 147, and he can do that against Norman. But because he doesn't, you also got to think about it, bro. Like Garcia's hook can hook on a 154 pounder and beat him. Like that hook is special. So like, I
Yeah, it
know he
is.
got beat.
If when he throws it,
Yeah, and that's all he has though. And you can tell like it's if you're strong enough to actually block it like Rolly, you can and have the strength to hook on him too, then that's what happens, bro. Like that was like the only Rolly can beat Ryan You know, like someone like a Rolly, like obviously there's other guys who can beat him as well, but there Rolly is like the only individual who is the least skilled, and no one's really built like him as far as like attributes. No one's as low IQ as him, and no one is as strong as him at the same time. That's a very strange build, or
It
a
is.
very, that's a
A
strange.
composition, huh?
Yeah, it's like what the fuck am I looking? Like, but he's built. He
Hey,
stays
he's
in shape.
built different, bro. Like
He's just
God,
built
God is
different.
sort of like
You
God
can't.
has a sense of humor, bro.
That's a unique fighter, bro. Like that's a unique. Those are unique attributes to have.
Yeah,
But anyways,
like
with
completely airheaded with a with the
yeah,
left hook for days.
yeah,
Yeah,
but it's somehow he can be that low IQ but stay in shape. It takes like you got to see that he's in shape, so he puts in the work. But anyways, with Haney,
yeah.
his
Please,
style, his
Haney.
his his style beats a lot of guys. But obviously, he has less and less of a chance the more he moves up.
Yeah, that's true. Well, look. What really impressed me with Brian Norman Jr. was his catch and shoot.
Yeah,
I'm a big fan of catch and shoot, right?
I like his
Because
style. I like, bro. It's like really old schoolish,
yeah, yeah. And here's the thing, though, to be a catch and shoot fighter, that means you have to have great footwork because you're
and a
able to
chin,
transition,
and a
huh?
chin.
And the chin,
And a
but
chin,
but
you got to rely on your chin if you do get caught and
and he did get caught a few times. He got caught
He
like three
did.
or four times, and he just
Yeah.
brushed it off like whatever. But what I
I don't like
noticed
that.
more
I don't
important,
like that.
well, what I noticed most importantly, well, there's always going to be those type of fighters that says, um, "I'll take one of yours to see if you can take one of mine." Right,
Mhm.
like Subriel Matias. Subriel Matias was always one of those fighters that says, "Okay, I'll take some of yours to see if you can take one of mine," because guess what? Nobody could take one of his. Right? I want you to tell me which fighter you know has taken his punches. And please don't say
Who's
Liam Paro because Liam Paro, he
who's
didn't really get hit. Liam
who's
Paro fought a
punches?
very perfect fight. Subriel Matias. Nobody.
You said whose punches did he hurt? Get
No,
like
whose punches? Who's been able to take Subriel Matias's punches?
oh, a
Nobody.
lot of people. It's just you said nobody?
Nobody. He's
Like
knocked him out, all of them,
yeah. Oh
and
yeah,
he
that's
killed
why.
the dude.
Because it's the way he's throwing them. He's throwing accumulation of punches
And they're
and
all power.
it's all power, you know? So it's
But here's the
different.
thing, though, and actually, it's not. And here's the thing, though, with a fighter like Subriel Matias and to an extent Brian Norman Jr., they don't need to, really turn all their fists. They don't have to turn their punches or shoot from mid range or throw everything behind them because they could clip you from close range. Subriel Matias is a very notorious fighter for being able to throw 6-inch punches. Right, and but the most impressive thing, because before we start hopping on to other things, other fighters, Brian Norman has the type of power that changes strategies. Like for example, I don't know if you, well, yeah, you obviously watched it, but this Japanese fighter, he was not just throwing haymakers. He started throwing some jabs. But then when he started throwing those weak punches, because the jab, for the most part, will always be one of the weakest punches that you can throw. When he started jabbing in there to get into the guy's grill, Brian Norman was clipping him with the type of punches that were like, "Don't do that. Don't try and throw jabs to my body because I'm gonna pay you on the top. Don't try and throw jabs to my head because I'm gonna tear you to the body." Right? And then what happened? The Japanese fighter was reduced to rote, reduced to just throwing haymakers. And that was his undoing because haymakers swinging as wide as he was trying to, throw his punches in order to execute and land with power were exposing him to very direct laser sharp punches coming from the inside going straight down the middle, and that's what started to wear down the Japanese. And in fact, as soon as the Japanese fighter got clipped, you can just see the downward spiral. Afterwards, he just started to lose power. He started to lose energy. He started to become very limited in footwork. His game plan went out the window. Why? Because Brian Norman's power just neutralized everything. It was an incredible display of precision punching, along with the strategy, altering power of Brian Norman. And I think that's the one thing that impresses me this most. The fact that this guy can hit so hard that whatever you had as a strategy, you're gonna have to change, because if you continue going on like that, you're gonna get discouraged because he already figured you out. Brian Norman is gonna become undisputed at 147, bro.
Yeah, now that Boots is you know, he vacated, yeah, I think his chances like went up like 50%, you know,
Well, I mean,
because
they still have Manny Pacquiao.
and they still, I think they still have Butayev, no?
Butayev is back. He hasn't even fought like it since he
I
lost
know.
to Stanionis.
That's right. Stanionis, you know, he's still there too. Oh no, he moved up, didn't he?
No, I
I
just know
think.
that he got beat by boot by beats.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, I guess yeah. Still, so there's still, you know, Stanionis. That's a
Yeah,
good
yeah,
barometer fight.
that
You
is a
know,
very good barometer fight.
you know.
Um,
So,
Mario Barrios. Let me see who else is at 147.
oh, Barrios. I think he can beat Mario Barrios. So Brian Norman. I think he
Yeah,
can
yeah,
beat him.
because I think the problem with Mario Barrios is that uh he doesn't have the best defense, right? And that's fine. We love fighters uh that that they don't only rely on their defense, because a lot of the time they make for very boring fights. But Mario Barrios has enough output to neutralize his defensive flaws and actually win that way. But yeah, no, I think Mario Barrios is too hittable, and I think we've seen him get dropped a few times. And Brian Norman is gonna.
So the problem is that he's fighting Manny Pacquiao, and I think Manny Pacquiao beats him, bro. I think Manny
Okay.
Pacquiao beats him.
Well, let me ask you
100.
something. Does Norman Jr. beat Manny Pacquiao?
I don't know. I don't think so.
Absolutely, absolutely.
IQ. I think IQ wise, bro. Like
Remember the
Norman
Japanese
punches
fighter
hard.
that beat Manny
No.
Pacquiao?
Who?
The
The
Japanese
Jap.
fighter beat, yeah, in a quote unquote exhibition fight. And I know it was, but they really tried fighting, bro. And Manny Pacquiao looks so bad, bro. Like that Manny Pacquiao was 50. I'm being generous here. 50% of what Manny Pacquiao looked like. Now you could be, oh well, it was a it was an exhibition and so forth. Yeah, tell that to Manny Pacquiao after the fight. It was 8 rounds of looking bad against this guy, right?
Yeah, but he said he didn't even train, bro. Like for this fight, he came back and he trained for over a year, bro.
With
And
Freddie Roach. So you're
yeah,
right.
so and it's just like it's just different. He didn't even prepare for that fight. Like he just like had like a 3-4 week at like notice,
Mhm.
and he was
True,
like
true.
ready to fight. So that's pretty
True.
good, So he wasn't even ready, bro. And I think this fight, bro, like I mean he looks good, bro. Like he looks
Mhm.
in good shape. So yeah, I think Pacquiao beats him, bro. And I don't know, Brian Norman versus Manny Pacquiao. Why?
Mhm.
Like if Norman ducks that, I'm gonna be kind of upset with him because that's a good name. Have that in
Mhm.
your record, bro. Like Thurman. I mean, Thurman should have. I don't know what he should have done, man. I don't think he should have been so inactive. You know,
Mhm.
uh, I think that's the problem. But Norman is ascending, and he should fight a Manny Pacquiao. He should maybe fight. And there's like a Puerto Rican guy that I'm thinking about, and he's like number one in his sanctioning body. But yeah, he needs to fight him.
Well,
He
there's
has
Karen.
cornrow. He has
Karen is a very
cornrows.
good fighter.
Yeah, but he's like, well, I guess they can make it happen. But yeah, that's a good fight. Anybody who has been in the ring with Boots, I'll take it. There's Rashidi Ellis, but I
Yeah.
think he's across the street. I mean, there's a lot of 147 heat, man. Like just like go in there with the guy, like I said, who's been in there with Boots,
Lewis Crocker
or
from abroad. I like that
or
fight.
or a contender. There's a guy named Ioannis Detti. I forget his name, but I'm gonna get his name right now. But yeah, man, it's
Josh Taylor.
Josh Taylor's a 147 pounder, and he's like and
Yeah,
he retired.
he retired.
Yeah, he retired.
Oh yeah, yeah. Okay, yeah. Well, hey,
Yeah, that's right.
he did good. He did good for himself. Yeah. We'll miss the guy for sure. Um, yeah. Well, there's Haney. So there's Connor Ben. So those are very good fighters right there. Those are very possible fighters. I think one of the Ramos, with PVC. What's his name? The Ramos son, Abel Ramos.
Oh
No, that's
yeah,
the
he's
uncle, huh?
154. He's 154 pounder.
Really, he moved up to 150. Oh, okay, whatever. And Manny
Yeah,
Pacquiao.
he's
Okay.
been.
Hey, Rolly Romero. Whoa,
Um, but I think he's Al
bro, that's
Heyman. He's an
funny, bro.
Al Heyman fighter.
Well, here, yeah, well, okay. So, yeah, so look, I guess we can all agree and say that Brian Norman Jr. is somebody to whose career too we should follow. I think
Oh
it's agreeable, right?
yeah, and there's this dude named Rohan Polanco.
Yeah,
He is
Polanco,
a
Polanco from the Dominican Republic, right?
Yeah, he is a top rank fighter. Good fight.
Okay,
Give me
yeah.
that fight. Um, there's also Giasov. Giasov was supposed to fight, man, I think Boots a couple
Mhm,
times,
mhm,
but they had a hard time getting making that happen. Um, and they yeah, like you said, Alexis Rocha,
mhm,
you know, yeah, oh Delonte Johnson, he moved up from 140 to 147. Um, so yeah, I think Rohan Polanco, that's a really good one right there. I like it.
You know what sucks, Dream? I'm just gonna sorry to interrupt you, but we use StreamYard to go live, bro. And StreamYard has changed its the way it presents itself, right? Like there's a lot of stuff that I can't access, right? Because like for example, if I want to show somebody's comment on the screen on this platform on a mobile, I can't. Like once I select one comment, it takes up like half of the screen, like half of the other stuff that I can read, so I can't. So I'm just gonna read a couple of these messages, right? Instead of like showing them on screen, right? The Mexican G says, "What do you guys think of the Canelo versus Crawford press conference?" Um, Vince says he hasn't watched that yet, and I said it was a bit boring. But finally, Bud did his smack talking, and that helped a bit, just like Canelo's pushed it. So we'll keep reading a few more. The Mexican G says, at first I didn't realize that Bud was at the press conference until I seen him smile. Mr. Vince Vargas says it's losing steam. Top rank is. At first, I didn't realize Crawford was at. Okay, come on. The homie says, "What's up, fellas?" Mr. Vince Vargas says, "No wonder why the last fight on ESPN was low quality. No, no lies. Vito Mionecki card. Jahid Tucker was on that card." He says, "Talk about low budget. The cameras were off. Poor lighting. No Bradley, no Tessitore, no Kriegel, no Suna. Broadcast was
Mm.
sad." Yeah, that's it. Well, so Vince, I hope you're not discussing the top rank card that took place in Japan. Well, it wasn't a top rank card. It was a Japanese card that was co-promoted by Top Rank and ESPN Plus. But yeah, those guys they send for the American broadcast. They send uh, Nico Ali Walsh and the girl Jessica something, like the Filipino white girl, to do the announcement, the color commentary and whatnot. So that's just for them when they do in Japan. But otherwise, I don't know which fight you're referring to. But yeah, if it was like that, man, I don't know. I don't really pay attention to a lot of the commentary, right? Mr. Tim Bradley says the Mexican G says Tim Bradley looks like a mild dud, milk dud probably.
Mm.
Norman would mop the floor with Haney. Yeah, I agree with you, Mexican. I agree. I don't know what Dream is onto right here, bro, but he's outlandish with his comments. DMG says Barrios needs a defensive coach. Now you're tripping. Manny is too old. Man, so you're starting with some
Bro,
outlandish takes, Dream, and
so
now they're accusing you of
his
being crazy, bro.
bro, his bro, Norman's fighters have been
Uh,
all engaging with him. You really think Haney's gonna engage with Norman? It's like I don't think so, man. Like he's not gonna fight the fight he wants. You know, he's not. He's gonna tell him, "Come on." He's gonna be like, "All right, I'll come." Ah, got you there, and he's gonna keep running. Like that's just what it is, man. Like that's what's gonna happen. Like,
Mm.
and he's gonna get that belt from him, and he's gonna
Well,
be think
you know how you neutralize a mover, right?
he cut the corners. Yeah,
No, absolutely not. You stay put.
you neutralize a
If
what?
if a how you neutralize a mover, a person that circles around, instead of chasing after him and exposing yourself to counters and whatnot, because if a person doesn't want to get caught, you're not going to catch him. If a person, you can't cut off the ring on a person that's more mobile than you, because there are ways to fight from such a distance that you can't catch them. You're chasing after them. You're running, right? And they run faster. So what you do is you stay put, right? You stay put and you take very minimal steps in order for them to say, whoa, this guy's feet are so slow. I don't have to circle out. And it looks ridiculous for me to circle unnecessarily and just move because it expends energy. So they start walking towards you and stay more in the pocket. So a mover will only move if you're moving after them. But if you stay put and you're very slow, they're going to stay in the pocket with you. Now, that's what Brian Norman is going to take advantage of. The little soft pillow, soft touches of Devin Haney in
Supposed
his
to cut
jab.
the
Yeah,
ring off.
that's one of the greatest jabs in the sport of boxing right now. Devin Haney. It ain't gonna matter to a catch and shoot fighter like Brian Norman because he'll catch them all. That's one of the most impressive things. His bob and weave, catch and shoot, his parry, his lips, they're better than just a jab. So I trust Brian Norman to clip him there. Mr. Vince Vargas says, "Did you guys hear about the card in July at the Save Mart Center in Fresno?" Yeah, we did, Vince. One of our local fighters from Salinas. We have Jesse James Rodriguez, nephew of Robert the Ghost. No, wait, Jesse James Guerrero, nephew of Robert the Ghost Guerrero. He's going to be there. We're going to be having, if I'm not mistaken, a fighter from Salinas also. Jorge Maravillo. He might even be the main event fight.
Is he?
I Yeah, I'm not too sure if it's him or one of the opponents that he faced when he was an amateur fighter, Angel Chavez. One of them is signed to most valuable prospects for Jake Paul's most valuable prospects. At least I know that they contracted him back then, but I haven't seen them fight for him in a little while, so I'm not too sure. But yeah, absolutely, Vince. We are aware of that fight, and in fact, I was going to ask you, are you going to go? Because homie Ricky and I think Dream were talking about that. Dream, are you going to go to Fresno to watch these fights?
Well, I had asked, you know, Rick if he wants to go, but he said, you know, he probably has a baseball game to go to, you know, so I don't know. And I don't know, or not a baseball game. Never mind. Yeah, he said something like that. And yeah, man. So I had told him, I was like, yeah, I'll just get the tickets and I'll see if anyone wants to go because I think my cousin wants to go at the very
Yeah.
least, you know. So
Is your cousin
it's just
cool or is he Chusma?
who?
Is your cousin cool or is he Chusma? Like, is he cool to hang out with? Like, if I'm a stranger, am I gonna get along with the guy, or is he, like
Oh
weird?
yeah. No, he's super chill. Yeah, he's chill.
Okay,
It's just
so he's chill. He's not Chusma.
I don't know what choose my means.
You know what Chusma means, bro?
Nah.
You're not Mexican, bro.
Cheese man.
Chusma.
I know
No,
what
no,
cheese
no.
man
Well,
is.
okay, they go hand in hand, bro.
Oh,
Chusma says a lot of chismes.
okay. It sounds like it. I never heard of that
Yeah,
phrase though.
yeah, yeah. Oh, well, you never heard of El Chavo del Ocho or what?
Yeah, I know. I mean, bro, I went to, I watched nothing but Primer Impacto and fucking
Very,
and,
very
and,
bugged.
and tell me how I know that because I grew up in that kind of like household,
Yeah,
and I watched.
fine as women, right?
I mean, I don't know, but I was a little kid, man.
Bro, yeah, I was a little kid growing up with them. I know they were fine as women, bro.
Well,
Come on now.
okay, yeah, yeah, you're right, right. Because I remember I used
There
to.
was Mirka de Llanos, and then there was
Oh,
whatever.
you're talking about the novelas and like Rebelde and all that. Yeah, of course.
No, the news reporters for Telemundo, bro.
Oh
They
yeah,
like
almost all the time.
there was
They
this
were
girl
looking,
named
but
Mirka de Llanos. I think she was Cuban, I believe.
mm,
Like light skinned Cuban, bro. She's literally so beautiful.
yeah.
Mirka de Llanos.
No,
Just
you're not
watch her,
lying.
bro. Like back in the day, she was like a peach, bro. A peach.
I was so numb to it. I just every
So numb.
yeah, I was so numb to it. It just went over my head. Like every single day, I seen that. And
Bro,
but
trust
for
me,
me,
my something was
well, it
numb.
was different.
One of my body parts was numb.
Uh, well, for me, I had that experience when I had my kindergarten teacher. I used to go to like school in the east side, right? And it's just everyone who spoke. It was everyone who spoke Spanish, and I had this kindergarten teacher, and I remember just she had big old boobs, bro, and I just couldn't stop staring at her, and she
Good
caught
boy.
me, and I just couldn't stop, bro, to the point where she was just like, "Hey, what are you looking at?" Like that, and I just looked around. I was like, "Oh,
My guy.
yeah," and then I was all, you know, but yeah, I remember that because in person is just for me it was different, like I was like seeing someone with huge breasts, and I was like, Jesus Christ. But
You want to
yeah,
play basketball with them, huh?
yeah, her
Um,
name was Miss Fletcher.
wow, man, you remember that? He might as well get him tattooed.
Easy name to
Uh,
follow, right? Easy name to remember. Obviously, that's really the only name. But yeah,
Mr.
so
Vince Vargas goes on and talk. Oh, Eddie Medi says, or Gold Member says, the Mexican G. I'm just glad Bud decided to wear a shirt at the New York press conference this time. Uh, Paulie Malignaggi is the only boxer to lose twice in the night in boxing history. Really?
what happened?
Really? What did you know that Paulie Malignaggi is the only boxer to lose twice in one night in boxing history? He probably refers to when he lost to Adrian Broner and Adrian Broner took his chick. I
Dude,
think that's what he's meaning.
dude, he's everywhere. He was commentating on a Top Rank card over the past weekend. I was like, dude, aren't you with Pro Box? And he
Yeah,
is.
yeah, that's
And
weird,
he
huh?
is. Him and Chris Algieri are not they weren't Chris Algieri wasn't over the weekend, but I'm just saying like sometimes Chris Algieri will do that, and I was surprised. I was like, oh shit.
Crawford turned heel. Eddie Medi says, reminded me of Darth Vader. Tim Bradley is cool as hell in my book. Yep, I agree. He's actually cool in person. Now he's more biased towards Mexicans because his wife is Guatemalan. Oh, what? Wait. Uh, Gold member. I thought, what? I thought that, wait, did he get married again to a Guatemalan this time? Because my impression was his wife was always Mexican or Mexican American, whatever, right? Because I don't know if he'd really married like a straight up Mexican from Mexico, right? But I always thought that she was Mexican, so she was Guatemalan. Oh, okay, that makes sense. Um,
Yeah, bro. He's from Cathedral City, and I
it all
remember
makes sense. White talks about
no,
black fighters.
nah, he's from Cathedral City, bro. It's a trip because um I have a cousin who's from Cathedral City, and that area is like it's like Palm Springs, in
Mhm.
that area,
Yeah.
so there's a lot of Mexicans, and a lot of just really different types of Mexicans too, like
Mhm.
the ones that don't even speak Spanish, the ones that speak native language or whatever,
Mhm.
so yeah, so I
That's
already know like they're really like there's a lot of Central Americans there.
Yeah. Hey, Dream, let me ask you something because these guys are talking about the Canelo Bud Crawford thing, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
it is obviously the news of the day. I watched some of the presser. I found it to be actually, I think I watched the whole thing. It was like about 45 minutes long. I thought it was very boring. Now, I've watched UFC press conferences before, and mostly it's a bunch of reporters and fans, and then they have a mic on two places, one on the left, one on the right side, and anybody could just walk up there and start asking questions. Right? This press conference probably only had about 8 questions, right? Or maybe this is not the one I'm talking about. No, it is. It is. And Bud Crawford called Canelo a big head. He said he had a big head. And Canelo chuckled. And Canelo didn't really say nothing.
When was
He
this?
kept like, was it yesterday?
No, was it like what video? Like, was it a press conference or the what was it?
It was where Dana White was in the middle, trying to separate him because uh, Terrence Bud Crawford, they were to have their first face off or whatever, right? This was after the famous dinner where Turkey Ali Sheik is fattening up the his fighters, right? He has this whole feast. There's like about 30 different platters in the front. Each one it has a whole different food stuff, and these fighters that are supposed to make weight, right, are being lavished and showered with the food and drink and whatnot. And of course it's very cordial and amicable, and Bud Crawford and Turki Ali Sheik, His Excellency. Yes, I do say that with my head held high because I love the guy. And Canelo, they're right there at the table and they're having a good time. Then the next day over, they have a press conference. And Terence Bud Crawford says something, and he starts off by saying, "Yeah, those belts are coming with me." And Canelo's like, "Yeah, yeah, yeah, whatever." He's like, "Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, you'll see, they're coming with me." And then he opens up the ante and he says, he's like, he thinks I'm gonna be running. Oh, because Canelo said, Turkey, the only thing I want you to do, the only thing I want you to do is get us more ring, get us more ring. Like implying that the guy's gonna be running. I want them to stand and fight. And the other guy goes, "Bro, the only thing I'm gonna do is run around his head as I'm beating him, taking his belt, and it's a big head." He said that. And
Yeah,
Canelo's like, "What? He's talking about the size of my head." Oh, okay,
yeah.
cool. And Canelo still didn't say nothing. But when it came down to brass tacks, right? They they come together. They're gonna face off, and Terence Bud Crawford walks up there like quickly, and Canelo's more taking his time, more chill. But Crawford walks up there to him. They actually don't meet in the middle. They meet more towards Canelo's side because Terence Bud Crawford really covered all of that space. He like walked over there, like
Yeah,
very destined, and he gets in his face, and they're
yeah,
like, just inches away. But Bud starts pressing him, like he starts walking closer, and Canelo actually like pulls his head back a little. And Canelo's never been in that situation. Canelo's never had a fighter step up to him and especially push him back. The last person to try to get a little testy like that, Caleb Plant, he got slapped across the face, right? So
yeah,
Terence Bud Crawford gets right up in his chest, starts pushing him slightly back, or at least Canelo's thinking like, "What are you doing, bro?" Right? I thought we were being friendly because they're, for the most part, being very respectful. And Canelo's like, "Oh, I respect the guy, whatever." Nah, talk your smack, bro. Talk your smack. And
yeah.
and this guy gets up in his chest, and Bud sort of keeps pushing forward. And Canelo first leans back, like, "What are you doing?" And then he takes like a semi step back. And then Canelo, he gets his hand, puts it on Terence Crawford's chest, and pushes. Now, everybody's saying that Terence Bud Crawford flew from that push.
He did.
I don't think so. I think it was a fair push. It didn't look like Canelo really meant to push hard at all, but he made Terence Bud Crawford move. And and then of course Terence Bud Crawford took offense to it, and he tried to like barge in there, but everybody separates him. And then of course it looks like Canelo is losing that push because his side pushes him way back, bro. And the guy who's advancing forward is Terence Bud Crawford. It looks like Terence Bud Crawford is making Canelo retreat. Symbolically, that's what it looks like. You
Mm.
saw this, right?
Yeah, man, you make me want to bet on Crawford, bro. But
Whoa, wait. Okay, let's go there. You're a betting man. Why do these little press conferences, why do they influence you so much? Like, for example, a press conference, everybody's used to talking their smack. Oh, I'm gonna beat you, I'm gonna crush you, I'm gonna knock you out, and then it doesn't live up to the fight, right? I mean, I think Ryan Garcia said the same thing to Rolly Romero, or vice versa. Devin Haney and JC Ramirez, they said the same thing, vice versa, and they don't live up to those fights. Why does Terrence Bud Crawford pushing Canelo back, making him walk back, looking like he won symbolically, and at the same time Canelo barely moving his hand forward and making Terrence Bud Crawford like basically step back like a foot and a half. Why do those kind of actions influence who might win, who you might vote for?
Because you get to see where their mindset is. Like,
Okay.
like it just, at the end of the day, I don't want you near me. Like when I'm fight, like when like I gotta be really cool with you to like we gotta have some kind of friendship for me to be like near you and talk a whole like not like unless it's like a sit down like with Piers Morgan, like like I don't want you near me, like especially now that I'm fighting you, like I'm not your boy like that, you know and you get to see when they're in face to face, who's like who feels like they needed to like I think Canelo's just building the fight, and I see through all that. I don't really care too much about like the face off. It's really how Crawford has been towards Canelo, you know. And it has to do with obviously with the comfort level, of their bank accounts, and they're just chill ass people. It's a different energy, bro. Like when you're like rich and famous like that, because that's what you're seeing. You're seeing two calm guys, but then you get to see when they're like how they're communicating with each other. Uh Crawford's deciding to be cool with him, you know, and he is not trying to piss him off, like he doesn't want to, because then it turns him up, because dude, if you get disrespectful with Crawford, he's gonna talk back, and Canelo is kind of being like straight up and saying you're nothing, like you're still nothing. Like I'm gonna say what I feel, and that's the truth. You're no different than the other guys, And he's on. I'm gonna show you that, and then he goes, "All right, all right." It's like that's all you're gonna say, Crawford. Usually, you question. You're like, okay, so you're not gonna question his like you're not gonna point something out from his resume. You're not gonna make some good points about his resume or nothing like that. You choose to, like, you say a lot against the other guys when it's with like Madrimov. He had a lot to say about the type of guys that he's been fighting, but I mean, at the end of the day, you can't really say nothing too bad about Canelo, but you could have gone to a lot of places, like the because he's trying to build this fight, but Crawford ain't trying to sell his soul. He ain't trying to piss him off for real. He's like, nah, I'm good enough with the amount of money that I'm getting paid. You know, you know,
What? Whoa, 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 whoa!
you know.
Wait! You know that Terrence Bud Crawford is one of the people that has the most killer instinct, right? Like this guy is really malicious, bro. Like when he
But
wants to tear you up, he's gonna tear you up. What you're
he's also
thinking he
smart though.
doesn't want to piss
But
off Canelo?
he's also smart though. He also smart. He's smart because he knows physics, and he knows
Wait.
there's and
Yeah,
he
I get. Yeah.
he
Okay.
knows physics, and he's trying to win this fight for real. Like I wouldn't want to piss off Canelo too. It's just gonna
So wait. You're thinking that the long game, because we're
yeah,
still about 3 months away, guys. And then, like all
but
the
by
stuff that's
decision,
going on.
but by
Yeah, listen, all the stuff that's going on, I find it to be unnecessary. Right? We haven't even started the month of July. We're still in June. We haven't even wrapped it up. We're about the midway into the month of June. We have all of July, August, September, halfway into September, 3.5, almost 4 months from now, guys. We still have almost 4 months before this fight takes place. All of these things are going on. I'm thinking by the time that fight nears itself, what other possible things can happen? Like what other more interesting things can they do to hype this fight up? Look, one of the most successful things that make a fight hype is a push, right? A push or some kind of physical contact before the fight. That already happened. We're still months away. People, we're gonna forget about this, right? So all of this stuff right here doesn't make sense. So what you're saying is that Terence Brother Crawford is trying to pacify Canelo. He's trying to
He doesn't want
play
to
the
build up.
nice
He
guy
doesn't. He
so that he
doesn't want
doesn't
to.
have to
He
stir the
doesn't.
pot, so that Canelo doesn't become this super beast. And
Yeah, because he
because of that,
understands.
Canelo's going to be friendly in the ring to him.
Yeah, because he understands. You know, like Crawford don't care about no back end money. He's not trying to build no fight. Like he's trying to win this fight, and he's trying to go down as the best like of all time. Like regardless of how the fight goes down and how things go down, even if it's a controversy, if Bud wins this fight, he will be considered amongst the greats, bro. And that right there, like he's trying to, like, there's no way he's gonna knock out Canelo. It's physics. He ain't got it in him to knock him out, but he can overwhelm him. Maybe I see a world where he just all over the place and keeps tagging him. Like shit, your footwork is way too good, but I think Canelo's been holding back a lot. I don't think we've seen. I think we're finally gonna see that vintage Canelo, like the real vintage Canelo. I know he keeps saying, "Oh, no one's gonna beat this version of Canelo," but nah. I think there has not been nobody to his level up until Crawford, because at a certain point, size don't matter when IQ is such a high level. You know,
Yeah.
when IQ at such a high level, and on top of that, these guys ain't too far off. Like as far as height, like these
No,
guys
Terence
are.
Bud Crawford is bigger and the longer he's bigger than Canelo in everything. In
Yeah,
height, they're
like the
about the
more.
same, but in reach, in all of those other things, yeah, that's Terence Bud Crawford has that, right?
Yeah, and I hate how impatient he got though, moving up so damn fast. Like
Well,
like
he's
he
trying to
just.
do it for the bag, bro.
Yeah,
Here's the thing.
I hate
Remember,
that
we've talked about this. Terence Bud Crawford is a person that's resentful of the sport of boxing, especially of the boxing
yeah,
fans.
because of the whole
He's
prop tank
resentful.
situation.
Yeah, he's resentful of the sport, but he's also resentful of the fans. Right now, he's actually a little happier. He's more outgoing. He's more talkative because now he has fans, right? But it really took him beating a very favorite, very popular fighter in Errol Spence Jr. in order for those guys to
And
flip on Errol Spence to become
yeah,
but Crawford fans. But now he's enjoying himself, right? But this guy, yeah, he's resentful. He doesn't really, you know,
mhm.
care for all these things. He don't care about anything else besides going over there and winning. Um, but yeah, I think you're onto something. I really do.
I hate it. Like I hate it. I want Canelo to knock him out because of it. It's just like he's gonna retire after this.
Well, let me
He's
ask you
done.
something. What if he? That's the way it sounds like to me. Because what else is he gonna do? Is he gonna if he beats Canelo? And I do say if he beats Canelo, guys,
Mm.
because let's not act like this is not the sport of boxing, guys. The sport of boxing, where it's a puncher's chance. And if you're going to tell me that a two-time undisputed fighter who maybe we can nitpick his career and say he hasn't done nothing, if you're going to tell me that a fighter like Terence Bud Crawford, who utterly destroyed my favorite welterweight in the past few
I
years,
think.
Errol Spence Jr.,
I
besides Manny
think.
Pacquiao, of course, you think he's not going to have a fighting chance at beating Canelo, at pointing him or something like that, even hurting him? That's crazy.
Yeah, and he just gotta get through his power punches, which he's not capable, or I don't think he would be capable, because at the end of the day, we're talking physics, bro. Like we're not even talking about who's great and who's not. He's been punching dudes at 168, full-fledged 168 pounders
And taking punches by
who have
168 and 175 pounders too.
yeah, who have 168 pounders who cut down to 168. So
Yeah,
these guys
yeah.
probably really like 190 pounders walking
Yo.
around, while Crawford was walking around probably like 150, 160, fighting at 140, you know? And
Mhm.
that's like crazy to me, bro. Like you like there's so much muscle for you to build. There hasn't been enough time for you to build that muscle. Even since we're speculating on it when he beat Madrimov, they were talking about this Canelo fight like it's like a fantasy fight, but now it's like a reality. That's like, nah, even then, not enough time. That's been like 10 months ago. You need way more time than that to
Yeah,
really
but
like
here's the thing, though. Like, okay, you're sort of shaping the fight if it's something about size versus skill,
it's
right?
physics.
The fact, or physics, as you say,
Yeah.
versus skill.
You don't build
Uh,
that much muscle, is what I'm trying to say.
Wait, but yeah, no, I get what you're trying to say.
Yeah,
But what I'm trying to say is this: we are talking about two fighters that are equal for the most part in size right now,
yeah,
right? The only difference between them is not even necessarily the skill set, because Canelo is very skillful. His type of fighting, which is come forward and always in the pocket, is one of the hardest styles to keep up. It really is. You have to have incredible head movement. You have to have great parrying and slipping and countering. You have to have
oh,
great speed. You have to
yeah,
have great footwork.
bro.
You have to have a
I
bob
thought,
and weave, catch and shoot. Canelo's style is one of the hardest things to do, right? Especially to continue to have that fighting style going up
mm,
in weight so many times. The only
yeah,
advantage that Canelo has, in my opinion, Dream, is that he is acclimated to the weight in order to take those punches. But if
yeah,
we look into the career of Terrence Bud Crawford, he is also a fighter that's been going up in weight, and his skills transcend certain weight limitations. So, in other words,
yeah,
he is the definition of a pound for pound fighter, just like Canelo is. That means their skills are so good that it doesn't matter their
yeah.
limits, like their size, their
Their
stature,
IQ is
their
so high.
reach.
Their I
Exactly.
their
And
IQ,
both of them are physically the same thing.
yeah.
It's just that
It's
who
just
has done it professionally,
the
who has
thing
done it
is,
for longer.
like, and they might imagine this type of fight where they jab and they both make their heads pop back at the same time. I can see a world where they kind of match each other's jab like that. But the thing is, Canelo's punches are gonna be harder with hooks. I do see a world where Crawford beats him to the punch though, and I can see him like overwhelming him with too many punches, bro. Like
Bro,
I can
one
see
of
that
the
because
look.
Bivol kind of did that when he was back in the ropes, right? And Crawford's like it's still a glove, but he's really good at getting in between your punches, like really shoving his glove in between your forearms and really getting to your face. Like he's really good at doing that. And I just remember that point where he was back in the ropes and Bivol was just going off on him, and I can see Crawford's like really good at that. But what happens when he's because Bivol did get caught with the hook and he took it very well. It and Bivol has proven to be one of the best chins in boxing because he also took punches from Canelo and Beterbiev, who I'm gonna have them over anybody in their division, in their respective divisions. You know, like they both beat Benavidez. You know, like it's a like they both knock him out. You know, so if you can go through Arthur Beterbiev, and I don't even know how it got to this point, but like you
That's
know,
boxing, bro.
yeah, I know you have to like
Hey, we talk about triangulation theories don't work, and that's
yeah,
exactly
yeah,
what we're
yeah,
doing.
yeah, yeah. But you know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, no, no,
Okay, oh
I
yeah,
do,
that's how I got
I
to
do.
this point because I was comparing Canelo's fights. Um
Mm.
and he landed a solid punch, but it was like really it was blocked, you know, but it still kind of made him go to the right, you know, like it made him kind of fly still, you know, made his whole upper body go to the right. And that's where Crawford messes up. Like he's not gonna that's too risky right there. Like what Bivol did while he was on the ropes, that's too risky for Crawford, you know? So he's gonna have to do it in spurts in a sense and be like in and out of the range, you know, like nah, I ain't gonna play that game with you. Come to the center, you know. So
Yeah.
yeah. I can see where Bud, because Bud, this is about IQ, bro. Like
Yeah.
Bud is gonna play his cards right, and he has a good chance to beating him because of
What
that.
it's about, it really is. Look, for all intents and purposes, there are two fights that are coming up that are very.
Oh yeah, hey, and
They're.
both.
It's the perfect fight, right? Because it's a dichotomy. It's a black and white fight. Okay,
Oh, it's perfect.
you have a fighter that most people consider one of the highest IQs, one of the best complete fighters out there, Terrence Bud Crawford, right? And you can say, well, he's a two-time undisputed, he's undefeated. Canelo isn't. Like, it doesn't matter how you look at it. It's, they're different in so many ways. Both of them have gone up in weight classes, about four different weight classes, five. In the case of Canelo, I think Terrence Bud Crawford is in his fourth, right? Um, Terrence Bud Crawford is older, Canelo is younger. Terrence Bud Crawford doesn't have that many fights. Canelo has way more fights, right?
Mm,
Uh, Terrence Bud Crawford hasn't fought nobody, like Arimedi points out. They asked him who his elite fighter was. Shaq asks who the elite fighters that Bud Crawford has fought, and he said Victor Postol, and Canelo is who's that? Like Arimedi just mentioned, right?
mm,
Um, Canelo has fought undefeated fighters from many different weight divisions. He's fought in Hall of Famers. He's done it for almost 70 fights, and the other guy has almost done it like about half of them with no stellar names, right? At all, right? So we compare that in this night and day. One guy has wear and tear, which is Canelo by fighting. The other guy
mm.
might not even have wear and tear because he's used to fighting once a year. Canelo has been fighting twice a year, maybe even three times a year
But think
when he
about the
went
time
undisputed
span.
run.
Think about the time span from when Canelo was fighting Floyd Mayweather
Hmm.
to him knocking out Kovalev. He was probably, that's like a 10-year span right there. Like it
Yeah.
takes 10 years, bro, to really like get that lean muscle in, bro. Like to act, and Canelo probably wasn't even a full-fledged 175 pounder. He was probably still a little pudgy at 175,
Of
so
course he was. He looked
but
fat.
that's why it takes so many training camps to really build that lean muscle. Like
Yep.
Crawford has a decision to make, either to be actually 168 or get as close as possible to 168 but be lean as possible, you
So
know.
here's the other thing
So
that I actually think. Besides that, I think the one thing that he has to do, exactly, he doesn't have to blow up to 168. He could go in there at 162, right? Just add muscle, but not necessarily weight, right? So he could retain some of his speed because his power is there. He has very good power. But here's the thing: I think what Terrence Bud Crawford has to understand is this: he is not physically the smaller man. Terrence Bud Crawford is about the same height, if not taller, than Canelo. His arm reach, he is rangier than Canelo, right? And who are the people that have beaten Canelo recently? Dream. They're all people that come forward and bring it to Canelo,
right.
right? We have Bivol. We have Triple G for the most part. Whatever you want to say, he may have won once or twice against Canelo. Maybe they robbed him. Whatever you want to say, but they've been fighters that bring it to him, right? And if you look at any of the fighters that have lost utterly at the hands of Canelo, the Charlo, the baby Charlo, the Callum Smith, and not so much in the case of Berlanga. Berlanga was made to be walked back, just like Munguia did. Those fighters, they tried to outbox Canelo, and they didn't get the decision. They got dropped as a result, and they just looked bad, right? You don't beat
Yeah,
Canelo like that.
no,
Bivol brought it to him, and Terrence Bud Crawford has the
his
skills
size,
to stand in his
you
pocket
know.
and walk him down, right?
but
I
Vol's
think that's what he
size
has to do.
but Vol's size enabled him to really fight that style of fight, and he was still kind of running, bro. Like, and he was still picking his shots and going in and out of range. Like that, Canelo was still the hardest puncher he's ever faced at that point.
Mhm.
Even to this point, like he still says Canelo's the hardest puncher over Beterbiev. Beterbiev just hard every single punch. So the power is more distributed, over time. And Canelo's just, I wouldn't be surprised if just this dude just makes him fly 5 feet from a hook, bro. Just too much of a mismatch,
Look,
bro.
I get that. I
I'm a,
get that.
actually, I want a good fight. I want a good fight. I do not
Well, it's
want
gonna be a good fight, bro. It's gonna
I'm
be
gonna
a good
feel
fight.
like
There's no way that two of the best
if
fighters
we
in the
get,
world meeting in the middle are not gonna put up a
we're
good
gonna
fight,
get,
bro.
we're gonna get at least 3 months of hype, right? Up until the build up and all that. Like we're gonna get 3 months of build up, and I'm gonna be mad if we get a bad fight. I'm gonna be like, dude, like we wasted our time. Not in a sense because we get to find out that or yeah, it's just because Bud's still a good fighter. Why
Very
didn't you
good
just
fighter.
why didn't you just stay where you're at, bro? Like you're one of the greatest of all time, bro. Like you can beat Boots, you can beat 154 pounders. Like you just beat one of the better ones at 150. I think Madrimov is that dude.
I
You
think
know?
Madrimov won, by the way.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah, and I, I,
What?
it's a hard one. That's a hard one, bro. I mean,
I think Madrimov won. And
yeah,
here's the thing, right? Here's the thing.
I can't say
Look, who are we to say who's a better fighter,
I can't argue
Triple
that. I
G
can't
or
argue with you
Crawford?
on that one.
Who's a
Say it
better
again?
fighter, Triple G or Crawford?
Man, man, it's just proven like Triple G. I'm gonna
Okay,
go Triple
so
G,
Canelo
bro.
has seen a style that skillful, that powerful, right? Canelo has seen every single style.
Exactly.
Crawford hasn't.
I'm gonna say Triple G's like the 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 Marvin Hagler of our generation, bro. Just because
Wow,
I
those are
mean,
big words, but yeah,
he just didn't
that's
fight the names
agreeable.
though. He just didn't fight the names though. Never mind. Just Canelo really.
No, but I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying. Well, he fought who was there. He
But
fought who
he's the
was there.
best. I just have him over everybody, like in middleweight, and like in the middleweights, bro. Like he's one of the best ones because he made his name at 160. Canelo made his name at 168. So
Mm.
who's really made that? And 160's been dead since him. So who's really like the best at 160 since him? And it's just Triple G's been, bro, since I've been looking at 2003 or 2004 Olympic results. He was fighting in the finals, bro, in 2004. I was barely 10. So he's been doing his thing, bro, for a minute. So he's has to be one of the greats in the middleweight history. Better
Yo,
than
this is funny,
better
bro.
than my favorite fighter, Winky Wright. I would have him in a fantasy. I would have Triple G in a fantasy fight over Winky Wright.
Winky, right? Look, Gold Member is funny. He says Crawford ain't getting the Mungia treatment. You know what that means, right?
Say it again.
The Mungia treatment. You know what the Mungia treatment is?
Not really.
Gold member says Crawford ain't getting the Mungia treatment, which is that, if I'm not mistaken, the Mungia treatment is that Canelo basically, uh, what's the word I'm looking for? He carried Mungia.
Hmm.
He left him there to linger. He was just beating him. He didn't want to destroy him. He was just carrying the fight, but carrying Mungia, right?
I think that and the Berlanga fight.
What you think he was carrying Berlanga?
Yup,
So
one
you
hundred
think?
percent.
Wait. Are you? Wait. In
You know
Mungia,
why?
I could
I'll tell you.
believe. Wait up.
I'll
In
tell you a
Mungia's
good.
case, I could believe. Yeah. We'll tell you right. But let's just clear up the fact. Why would he? Why would I think that he carried Mungia, but he didn't carry Berlanga? Well, here's the thing. He would carry Mungia because he always, there's been speculation that he was going to take it easier on the Mexican fighter because he never
Oh, so
wanted to
you
fight a
agree?
Mexican fighter.
You
Well,
agree?
I agree that there is evidence, not proof,
Oh,
but
there's evidence
evidence.
now.
There is evidence because he said that he would like a Mexican fighter to carry the torch after he departs from the sport, right?
Mm.
And well, guess what? Jaime Munguia is Mexican, but why would he carry Edward Berlanga? Weren't they talking smack about each other? Like, weren't they like, one guy was doing that hand gesture, like acting like he was like sort of like
To
gooning?
show that he didn't take an easy fight. It would by far be his easiest fight. So think about it, right? Canelo takes the first round off. Second round, he's figuring you out. It takes him about 4 rounds or 5 rounds to figure you out. He
Yeah,
figured out
yeah, both
Berlanga.
him and Bud.
He figured out Berlanga so early. He's never knocked people down that early since like his earlier days,
Mhm.
and he figured him out so quick. And next thing you know, he decided to stop throwing hooks. It's
Whoa,
like,
whoa, 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 whoa. Let's see if I get this straight. You're insinuating that Canelo carried Berlanga in order to make it seem like Canelo was taking hard competition, which means he's not taking hard competition when fighting somebody like Berlanga and Munguia.
well, Munguia, obviously, because you have evidence now that he's taking it easy on him, but he knocked him down early as well. It didn't take
Did
that
he?
long to
Did he
figure him
drop him
out.
like in the fifth?
Yeah, the fifth round. But
Okay,
that's
okay, okay.
so that there you go. The Berlanga was in the third. So it
Yeah,
took
yeah, that's true.
so it's like, dude, like I'm gonna knock you out. I'm not gonna give these guys my like he really cares about like building up a fight and he takes a lot of pride in that in his numbers and all that. He's Canelo, bro. Like he's always trying to up his like his last check. So he's bro, trust me, like it was a fucking easiest fight of his career maybe, and Berlanga even turned it up on him, and it still was the easiest fight of his career. like bro, you cannot make this shit up, bro, and he's being championed for it, and Canelo is okay with it. Like he hasn't
Okay,
said one
so
one thing
let me,
about him
yeah,
celebrating his win. Like he hasn't said one thing. Like, oh, what do you? They asked him, what do you think? I don't care. This and that. Like, bro,
yeah,
like you're not gonna question it. It's like really suspicious, bro.
yeah. No,
Like
okay, I get what you're saying, but it's hard for me to believe that Canelo would
for me
like
too.
to look. Wait up, I would, I find it hard to believe that Canelo would be accused of fighting soft touches in order to duck somebody like David Benavidez,
Yep.
taking Jaime Munguia, taking Edward Berlanga, and instead of utterly destroying them, so that he could provide more excitement to the sport, to his fans, because the fans don't
Mhm.
care about him winning. The fans want to see him beat ass, bro. Sorry about the curse words, guys. They want him to
Hey,
beat his
but
opponents to a pulp, and he lets them live. That's not gonna make him look good. It's gonna make him look
that's why.
vulnerable. It's gonna make him
That's why
look
he
like he's
said.
taking a step back.
That's why he said on both fights. Oh, they're really
What?
good fighters. They're tough fighters. He was a tough dude. Why didn't you
I
say
know
it's
what
the
he said,
easiest
but what I'm
fight?
saying is, I find it hard to believe that he would like to look mediocre.
He did not look mediocre. He's just trying to make it look like he made the right decision. And right now, or then, because the David Benavidez train has left, like
Yeah.
no one's talking about that fight anymore, and that's because people are too busy talking about his current fights. Like, bro, Tank is doing the same thing. Tank is gonna retire after Roach. Once he beats Roach, he's gonna have a trilogy. And it's like, oh my god, bro. Like, he doesn't care. I mean, Canelo cares because he's already like, but I mean, Canelo's just gonna retire, bro. I mean, his legacy cemented, but I'm telling you, bro, like he took it easy on
Okay.
both of those guys, bro.
Okay, okay, wait. Okay,
My
before we
opinion.
go there, let's read a couple of.
My opinion.
Okay, what do you guys think, guys? Did Canelo carry these guys? Did Canelo risk looking mediocre and not entertain his fans by knocking out anybody of these guys for years now, going on basically years without knocking anybody out, right? Um, in order to look like he is taking hard fights, right? You guys let me know. But in the meantime, I'm gonna read a couple of these comments. Gold member says, "Did you all see the Shaq interview where Bud would assess to name an elite fighter he fought, and and he said Victor Posto and Canelo was like, who is that? Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
That's true. And I mean, it's funny, but Canelo didn't really mean to be funny. It's just Canelo is casually funny, right? It's
He
the
asked him.
truth, and it's funny.
He
Yeah,
asked
and
him a
that's
genuine
actually,
question. Who is that? Like,
yeah. Who is that? Like
who
what?
actually who actually is that? Can you tell me more about him? Type of shit,
And I would bet, but it was like, but well, he's that guy that's very tall, and he's not from the U.S.
Yeah.
It goes on and says, Gold member says Crawford ain't late in getting the Munguia treatment. Yeah, Dream did the math. Don't forget, Canelo has never been knocked down, and the last time he was wobbled was in 2012 with Miguel Cotto, Jose Miguel Cotto, Miguel Cotto's older brother, right? And it was just like he took a very good punch, and Canelo really was rocked for like about 30 seconds or a minute. He was, I think he was even pushed to the ropes, right? Or he was pushing, what's his name, to the ropes, and he just got clipped. I forget, it was a very long time, but absolutely, I get your point. If Triple G couldn't do shh to him, Bebo couldn't do shh to him. Kovalev, Kirkland, what makes anybody think Bud can do anything? Interesting point. Gold member says, especially since Bud is pushing 40. But yeah, but here's the thing though, Gold member. Bud has way less wear and tear than Canelo. Because Bud has been a one fight a year fighter for about 5, 6 years now. In the past 7 years, he's only had about 6 fights. Now you can blame Top Rank and you can blame Whoop De Woo and you can say whatever. They all ducked him. That may be true. That may be true. But it doesn't take away the fact that he's been a once a year fighter. And the best name in the past few years has been Errol Spence Jr. and maybe to an extent Sean Porter, right? But Canelo's been fighting elite fighters, undefeated fighters, right? And heavy weight classes. So, but and he's been doing it for way longer with Hall of Famers, younger guys. Canelo's wear and tear is way more than Bud's nearly 40 years old. Goldman continues on. Max Kellerman, Madrimov being your toughest fight. That was a dig. Yeah, that was a dig at Bud. He was trying to say, if you know boxing, right? He was trying to say Madrimov, a European fighter, which most Americans would call a Eurobum. I wouldn't, and I'm an American. A fighter with 9 fights under his belt. He gave you the toughest fight, Bud. One weight division from where you became a pound for pound undisputed at welterweight. Just one division up. A guy with 9 fights makes you look that bad. And and of course, Max Kellerman was trying to imply something else. He was trying to insinuate and most
That's why I
importantly
like him though.
infer. Yeah,
That's
of
why I
course,
like him.
he was trying to say, don't forget, you probably should have lost that fight. Like if Warp
Yeah.
Speed is correct, he should have lost that fight. And Bud was definitely serious face with his eyebrow up, a little smiley, like, oh come on, and then a little happy face, like and then he's shaking up, and then he's smiling, and then he looks left and right, and then he's like cringing and holding his tears in. Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Go, remember you nailed it with the emojis, bro. Max Kellerman, come on now, Bud, come on now. And Bud,
Yeah,
wah,
that's why I
wah,
like him, bro.
wah. Hey,
Like
hey,
you
hey,
feel
hey,
his
Dream.
strength.
Yeah, hey,
Oh,
Dream. Do you know that one happy face that's like melting on the sides? Does that mean womp womp?
I don't know, man.
Womp womp emoji.
It's just a melting face, bro. Like it could
Yeah,
mean.
doesn't it mean like womp womp?
Nah, I don't know. I feel like it means exhausted.
Oh, Gold member says Ber Nalgas even got a neck tattoo just like his papi Canelo.
That's
Mr.
weird.
Vince, yeah, I know. Vince Vargas says both of these fighters are older, right? At some point, Canelo will decline. Yeah, it is true. Canelo has been declining. In fact, Mr. Vince, he absolutely has been declining, right? And maybe you can
Yeah.
say that the reason why he's looking in decline is because similar to Lomachenko, he's fighting past the weight division that he is most capable and fit at. That is partially true. I would probably say about half of that lack of dominance comes from the fact that he's fighting maybe 2 weight divisions from where he should be at his peak. But I mean, that's the risk that pays the most rewards, right? It's working for him. Not a lot of fighters would be able to transcend that many weight divisions and still be successful cash cows. But Canelo's able to do it. That's why we know that he will be one of the greatest, if not the greatest Mexican fighter of all time. Gold member continues and says Canelo won't decline because he'll retire before he gets to that point. Yeah, Mr. Vince Vargas, good to hear. Always getting his best in the ring. Gold members' last comment says inactivity will play a bigger factor than wear and tear in at a lower weight division. Man, we have some very intelligent commentators. Dream. Speaking of Bernalgas, and I say that with jest because I actually like Edgar. I guess you sort of. All right, guys, I'm gonna say something, but please don't follow that. Um, I made a comment about Edward Berlanga. Edward Berlanga made a short uh, video for the Ring magazine to promote his fight with Shiraz. Uh, what's his first name? Dream. I
Hamza
know this.
Shiraz.
Hamza. Hamza. Right. He says that basically he's gonna beat this guy whoop de boo. And the thing with Edgar, right? Um,
He's in his
Edgar.
own
He Yeah, but you see, Edgar. He's actually doing the right thing because
now.
some
Yeah.
people hate him, some people love him, but nobody feels indifferent to Edgar Berlanga, right? Nobody just goes, "Oh, what do you think about Edgar? Edgar, whatever." No, they don't say that. They're like, "I hate the guy," or "I love the guy." That's it, right? I love how he talks his crap. I love how he fights. He wants it, right? He's from the New York. He's from, I don't know, Bronx or whatever, whatever, right? And and then there's the people that said, "Man, you sure talk a big one. And you ain't fought nobody. You're a bum." Whoop de whoop, blah blah blah, right? But what works for Edgar is that one way or another, he gets you to feel something, and that's honestly the case with me, right? I've been following Edgar's career for maybe about 4.5 years now, five. Right, this was when he was still a top rank, and then he moved over there to Eddie Hearn's matchroom. I've been following this fight since Eddie Hearn, and even before. I watched quite a few fights. Right before he was nobody, when he was just like maybe 12 fights in and knocking everybody out, and everybody talked about how he was going to be the next big thing. He wanted to fight Triple G or whatever, whoop-de-woo, whatever. But this guy, he riles people up and rubs others in the wrong way. Now, I commented something to the effect of Edgar. One day I love the guy, the next day he gets on my nerves, and I don't even know where he's at right now. In my opinions, right? And Edgar says, "Thank you, bro. Thank you for the support."
Edgar said that?
Edgar said that. He's like, "Thank you, bro, for the support." Because, I mean, he's probably like, it's working. Right, because he loves me one day, and the next day, because he's manipulating my emotions, he's manipulating my opinions of him, right? And I was like, yeah, bro, do your thing, right? And now he is fighting Hamza Shiraz, and man, Hamza Shiraz and Edgar Berlanga are night and day, bro. It's like Hamza is a gentleman. He's very well spoken, very respectful. He doesn't say one bad word.
Yeah.
Edward Berlanga is brash. He's instigational. He says the N word. He acts all loud. One guy is very silent and reserved. The other one is very cocky and outspoken. And and both of them are likable to some extent, right? Because it's the dichotomy. It's the difference in their personality that makes you cheer on one guy over the other. Let me ask you something, Dream. Are you excited for Hamza Shiraz versus Edgar Berlanga? And if so, why? And if not, why not?
Yeah, yeah. That fight has the Shakur fight. You know, I can't wait to just see good boxing. You know, and if I
What
want to
does
go to
good
sleep,
boxing look like, bro? We've been talking
and,
about Canelo, but what are you saying, bro?
and if I want to go to sleep, then I can go to sleep. You know, that's what makes a good night. You know, um,
What are
because
you talking about, bro?
I'm like, yeah,
Are you trying to say something about Shakur Stevens, bro?
yeah, because I know how he fights, and I just want to see how he hangs with what's
William Camarón Cepeda.
yes,
Okay.
and this is the highest output, because he's gonna fight his style regardless of what we say, regardless of how much we sleep. He's gonna continue to fight this way. Now I want to find out if he can do this with the highest output guy, and I just, these fights, I'm not gonna lie, I'll just, if there's other fights, I'll have it on in my phone and I'll watch that. and I'll have that on the main screen. I'll be like, okay, he's doing his thing. You know, I want to find out if he's what he says he is. You know, if he comes out with the dub, then you can't really say much. I don't really get, you know, how people say it's like, you know, obviously it's bad to run that cat and mouse stuff. It's like bad, but I do see the good stuff that Shakur does, bro.
Whoa,
And
whoa, whoa, whoa,
this
whoa.
is the
Let's
thing.
not
Hold on.
talk about Shakur. Let's talk about Berlanga and Hamza Shiraz.
Okay, my bad. I just
No,
want to
you're good.
find
You're
out.
good. I
Hold
know
on.
why. I
Hold
know
on.
why you talked it because I asked for it.
I know. I just want. But okay, hold on. I'm gonna find because I think Shakur can put him down. I think he can put him down with the body shot, bro. Um. So yeah, I think knockout Shakur. You know, very rare. But yeah.
So this
Anyway,
is what I think. I think. I think Shakur Stevens has enough athleticism and stamina to, you know, circle around the forward aggression of William Camarón Cepeda and just pepper him with jabs and twos and combos all over to the body. I could see that. Um, but I think Camarón Cepeda, instead of relying on his
he
output,
cannot take body shots though, man.
I
He
know,
can.
but
He
he should
can't.
slow it down, right? He should slow it down.
I liked him
Now,
up until I seen that. I was like, damn it, man. So that's it. You see the holes, man. Like just because that's where you start. That's where Shakur's gonna go, bro. Trust me, he's gonna go there. And he's just gonna test that body. He's not even gonna bother with his chin. He's just gonna, you know, keep him at bay and watch, bro. He's really like I don't know what's up with him. Like he got hurt both times, bro, with the Tevin Farmer. So he did better the second time, obviously, but um you know, because he found out what his intentions were. He's like, and he made the correct changes. But with Shakur, it's different IQ, bro, and it's a fresher fighter, more speed. Cause speed is power, bro.
oh man,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah, no, it is, and yeah, it is, and speed kills, right? Hey,
yeah.
hey, Gold member says, when is Bill Haney going to show up to this channel?
I like Bill. I've always liked
Well,
Bill.
look, look, I love Bill. I love Trill Bill. I love Devin Haney. It's just that they get on my nerves sometimes, right? And
Why?
in the case of Bill Haney, the one thing that ticks me off is the fact that he tried to gatekeep La Raza. He tried to tell a Mexican American guy that he wasn't raza. Like, bro, you're black, bro. That's like me saying you ain't from the culture, right? And I'm a
Yeah,
Mexican guy, right? So it's like that's the one thing that I resent him for. But otherwise, it's like,
you
nah,
know he's just
Trill.
trolling, like, bro. Like he's a
Of
troll.
course he is, but no, he was really walking up there to Mexican American types and asking them to say whether or not this guy was one of them, right?
Mm.
And it worked, obviously. Um, but what I'm trying to say is, I understand him. That's why I don't hold him against it. I just knowing what I know about the guy. Oh my god, dude, my phone is about to die out.
Come on, man.
Dude, whoa, whoa, whoa! Literally, I'm charging my stupid phone, and it's at 0%. Uh oh.
You go charge it.
No, I'm charging it. It's still at 0%. Hey, yo, guys, can you guys find a better charger than this, just in case? I'm gonna hop on into the other link. My other phone. Crap. Uh oh. Yeah, no, I have this, but I need a box charger. Oh man.
Hey, my
Uh,
laptop's dying too. Nah, I'm just kidding.
What? No, you better not do that one, bro. I
Nah,
know how you
nah.
are, bro. You
I got
can't
a lot
hold
to
it.
say.
You can't
I
hold the
got,
channel up for 5 minutes, bro.
nah, I
Wait,
got
wait.
you.
I found a. Wait
I
up.
got
I
you.
found a. Oh crap. Here we go. Here we go. Oh, okay. Oh man. Okay, this has to be like a masterful move, guys. Like I have to disconnect this bad charger and connect a good charger at the same time because it's already at
Let
zero,
me
guys. If
let me.
if I don't pull this off, look, okay, bro, you better talk, bro. Keep talking, keep talking. Hey,
What
Angelo,
you're
okay,
talking?
look,
Oh,
do this. You put this in. Wait, wait, okay, I don't know, but you connect that and I connect this at the count of three. One, two, three. Go, 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 go. 1%, bro. 1%, bro. We got it. Keep going. I don't know.
all right. So yeah, dude. I was gonna talk
Wow.
about the Berlanga fight, man.
Okay, so okay. First off,
Let me check his fight
let's
history.
just say, are you an Edgar guy or no? Do you like Edgar or not?
I'm just like you, man. It's on and off, but
Gold member.
it's just for me. Um, like yeah, they just gotta match them up well. But that's the thing. That's not my problem. Like I want to see if you can improve, bro. Like let me see your like. This is the thing. He's like one of the harder punchers at 168. Like that's a fact. He still punches hard as fuck. And he's still gonna be a problem with anybody who does not have a chin, regardless of their IQ. You just gotta catch you. So he's Puerto Rican. He's probably one of the harder there's a lot of coming up right now that are starting to like thump, some Puerto Ricans and some Dominicans that are coming up right now that are really thumpers now. So he's like one of those guys that hit hard, bro. And at 168, I think he's like the only guy who's Puerto Rican at 168. It feels that way. I'm pretty sure you can find somebody out there that's like 160, but he's a 168 pounder. So he's unique build for his ethnicity. Usually they're a lot smaller when they're Puerto Rican, but he's a big dude. He's a big Puerto Rican. So uh, and he's young, and that's why I'm still gonna get. I think I said this a couple months ago. I was still critiquing him and on his on his stance and or not on his stance. Yeah, I guess you can say his stance, and it's just his his IQ. Like what like have you improved on certain have you built some good habits? Have you upped your jab? Do you have a better jab now? Because it's been months since I've talked kind of not greasy about him, but just critiqued him a little bit, because I did say months ago, I'm gonna give him the benefit of the doubt because he's still capable of learning. And he has what you can't teach, that power, you know? So I'm gonna give him that chance, bro. And I think he knocks out Hamza. Uh
What?
he knocks out Hamza, bro. Hamza,
Wow.
did you not see um the fight with Amo Williams and what's his name? The Bronco with Bronco. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Bronco.
Damis, right?
Adames.
Um,
Yes.
I
Adames won that fight.
Yeah,
Adames won that.
I was in and out on that fight, bro. I was in and out. I was going back and forth. I think I was like grilling for everybody, bro. Like everybody always. And look, guys, a lot of the time when these fights happen, we always have fight parties, right? And I'm the guy who's barbecuing for everybody. So I'm back and forth, and that's why I always rely on you and the homie to refresh. Our mind and talk about these things because I'm not the most reliable guys. Not only do I have former drug addiction problems that have ruined my brain, but I'm also very distracted when these fights are happening. Like I don't really watch a lot of the main event. Maybe I watch the main event, guys, but for the most part, I watch more of the lesser known fights because those are the moments when I'm actually like less busy, right? And I care to watch more of like the everyday common fights, right? But I forget what happened. Really, how did that fight play out?
Um, which fight? The
Um,
Adames.
yeah, Damis versus Hamza Shiraz.
Adames was running. He was running and he was getting tagged. And
Damis,
no, Hamza.
Hamza. Okay.
Hamza was running, and he was catching him a couple times. And I think Berlanga is big enough to cut the ring off and knock him out. Like I think he can set him up and knock him out because he does get tagged a lot, and he got hurt against Amo Williams right there. So he's gonna run in this fight too. So and they say they have a lot of people have him upsetting him, but this is one I'm sticking to Berlanga, bro. I think he's gonna knock him out. This is a 160 pounder, and he
Mhm.
was struggling against 154 pounders. You know, so this is a dude that doesn't need that much power to really like
So
crack.
wait, you're saying Hamza Shiraz is going up in weight?
Yeah, he's going to 168.
Wow, bro, man, man,
Yeah,
that Turkey Ali Sheik money must be kicking. Like
yeah.
man, and you know what? It's okay. The only thing is this. Here's the thing. Look, because this is gonna sound
Hamza's a
hypocritical,
Muslim.
right?
Hamza's
No,
Muslim, and he's the one of the spokesperson, or not spokesperson, but the
an
what?
ambassador.
Yeah, ambassador. Yeah,
Yeah. No, and he does make a very good ambassador because he is a very well spoken, good looking guy, right? He is a Muslim, I believe, along with a British guy, right? So he's just bridging bridges, right? So that's good. But the thing is, right? Look, I'm not against fighters um going up or down in weight to test themselves. I'm against fighters cutting the line to get championship fights, right? Like in the case of Terence Bud Crawford. I have a personal gripe to against Terence Bud Crawford to be allowed to skip basically three weight divisions to meet the cash cow, only to line his purse with money and a quick shot at becoming a three-time undisputed. Bro, I respect the work. This is
bro.
why
Give me a second, bro. I'll be
yeah,
right
yeah,
back.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, go for it. I respect the work more than anything, right? I respect the the road work, the sacrifices that these fighters take in order to get to their positions. I hate the political machinations, the political maneuvering that allows certain fighters to get opportunities that others don't. Right? Everybody pays sanctioning bodies, but yet only the ones that are heavily promoted or have the better political connections are the ones that get the shot. I find that to be corruptible. I find that to be disgraceful. So whether you win or lose, what matters to me is the story you have to tell in order to get to the top. So my personal problem with Bud, just like I guess now I have a personal problem with Hamza Shiraz, is that they're cutting a line in order to get not only money but name recognition. Now, with Hamza and Berlanga, I don't have that big of an issue because guess what? None of those guys hold belts, guys. So they're not technically cutting any lines, just like Terrence Crawford is. So I don't have no problem. In fact, I'm very interested in watching that fight play out because those two parties, guys, are completely different to one another in their conduct and their demeanor and their expressions. And even in their fighting style, right? And I respect both of them. So I just want to see who comes out on top. Um, Gold member says Fernando Vargas Jr. has been talking recklessly on IG, made a bunch of reels of Edward getting knocked down, so that's probably some AI videos cutting him a bitch ass. And then there's Ninja, and also saying he was going to talk to his ex. Yeah, go Vargas, man. Man, that's crazy. Fernando Vargas has been talking recklessly on IG. Okay, yep, I just read that. Can we agree that Berlanga ducked Fernando Vargas? I don't know. Junior was talking a lot when the Davis Bros were supposed to fight. Big Davis Bro lost. Yeah, so that's one thing, Mr. Vargas. The Davis Bros, DB3, right? That's what you're referring to. Keyshawn Davis, Kelvin Davis, and Keon Davis, the three Virginia-based fighters that are under. I think two of them, maybe all three of them, are under Bo McIntyre's gym over there with Bud Crawford and Shakur Stevens. Those guys, the Davis brothers and the Vargas brothers, Fernando, Emiliano, and I forget what the other kid's name is, man. I apologize. But that guy right there, uh, they've been going back and forth because they tend to fight around the same weight divisions 140, 147, and maybe 160, right? So they've always had some personal dispute between themselves. And the case of Edward Belenga and the Vargas, I didn't even know that Fernando wanted to throw down with with Edgar. But that's fine because one is Mexican American and the other one is Puerto Rican American, or basically that's the same thing as saying an American, right? So Mexicans and Americans, or Puerto Ricans and American cultures, man, they put up some of the great fights. And I know that's what Fernando is thinking about. He's trying to ride the coattails of Edgar, who has some name recognition, just even if it just means having lost at the hands of Canelo, but he has some fame and some recognition, and now he's going to have a fight promoted by Turki Ali Sheikh, the most powerful, most important individual in the sport of boxing currently. So Fernando wants that smoke. If anything, at least for some good money. I have no issues with that. I just don't think Fernando has done anything to really deserve a shot like that. I haven't seen anything too spectacular to even say that he would put up a very good fight. So this looks a lot like he's trying to do it for money, which is fine. But if you expect me to put money up there for that, nah, I'm not gonna do that. Let me see. I'm glad Callum Walsh called out Fernando Vargas Jr. though. I hope Fernando finally gets more recognition. Yeah, boy, he has to fight. That's what he has to do, Arimeri. He has to fight and get that name recognition. Team Vargas, says Mr. Vince Vargas. Emiliano Amado. That's right, Amado and Fernando Vargas. So there was a video, guys. Oh, man. But is Junior ready? I don't think so. I always see him still learning on his craft. Guys, okay, before we go on, right, there was a couple of things that I wanted to address that are very important, but I'm not too sure we're going to address them. Uh, the most important topic I wanted to talk about was how Edwin de los Santos severed his relationship with his manager, Sam Lukowitz, right? And of course, we all know how it happened. It happened 2 weeks ago when one of the Davis brothers, the better Davis brother, Keyshawn Davis, was supposed to fight Edwin de los Santos after a nearly 2 year layoff and having undergone deep vein thrombosis catheterization to remove a blood clot that nearly took the life of Edwin. In October, he underwent that procedure. They went through a vein in his leg. It's actually a hernial insertion of a catheter. Uh, and then they stick this clear tube and that sprays liquid. Basically, they locate the blood clot, which is basically just a big, chunky, sticky uh, particle of blood that clogs up your legs and it builds a lot of pressure, and then that could lead to a rupture, or it could stop blood flow to your extremities or to your brain. It could be fatal, guys. It could also go into your lungs and it becomes a pulmonary thrombosis that could destroy you. Or if it goes into your brain, a blood clot will lead to a a heart well, a heart attack. It would be in the heart, but a stroke, and that could of course also be fatal or at least paralytic. But this guy, after having put on a stinker with none other than than Shakur Stevens, he's made to wait a year and 2 months before his next fight, and then he has this medical procedure in October. Then he has to repose, and then all of a sudden, Keyshawn Davis has an opportunity to defend his newly acquired belt at one of the worst from that he got from one of the worst fighters said lightweight 135 Dennis Branchik, Ukraine's worst fighter, guys. Dennis Branchik, a guy who somehow got the belt from Emmanuel Navarrete, a nearly four weight division champion, right? Long story short, Keyshawn Davis has a belt. He's never defended it, and he's about to defend it against Edwin de los Santos on a voluntary, not a mandatory, a voluntary. He picks out a guy that fights, at 135, and Edwin de los Santos, he's shorter, less rangy. He's been on a nearly 2 year layoff. In October, he underwent procedure. This guy hasn't seen smoke, and he's injured, guys. And Keyshawn Davis picks him out in order for him to impress his people in Virginia, Norfolk, Virginia, right? All the three brothers fight in Norfolk. Only the youngest fighter of the Davis brothers wins, Keon. But Kelvin loses to a smaller fighter, Nair Albright, a 135 pounder. Historically, he's made to go up to 140. Kelvin talks a big one. He doesn't live up to it. He basically gets ragdolled for 10 rounds. And Edwin de los Santos, he's going to be fighting Keyshawn Davis. If it wasn't bad enough that all the advantages are in the favor of Keyshawn, what makes it worse is that Keyshawn Davis blows the weight by almost 4 pounds, guys. 3.6, 3 pounds 6 ounces. Basically, he's fighting as a welterweight. What? Okay, as a super middleweight. And Sam Lukowitz, Edwin de los Santos manager, says, nah, bro, we can't, you can't fight under these conditions. But because of the contract, the stipulations, the fact that they're fighting in Virginia, and plus the belt that he's defending, requires that Edwin de los Santos gets his full recompense. Edwin de los Santos, without even throwing any punches, is gonna walk away with 400 and some odd thousand bucks. Why? Because Mr. Sam Lukowitz looked out for his fighter and he said, "You're not gonna fight because we're here to win and get the belt, not to lose and make this guy more famous on the cheap." Keyshawn Davis offered the needy, financially starving Edwin de los Santos $50,000 to convince him to take that fight. And Sam Lukowicz was like, no, 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 no. That's too little. You have to up and up that purse, or we're not gonna take it, right? And this is exactly. I'm just gonna read to you guys a couple of these things, right? Norfolk, Virginia. Samson Lukowitz wasn't about to make the same mistake Bill Haney made. Sam Lukowitz could have accepted a hefty financial penalty Friday from Keyshawn Davis because a former WBO lightweight champion came in 4.3 pounds overweight. Edwin de los Santos' promoter prioritized safety over money, though. In other words, he was looking after Edwin de los Santos instead of just putting him up there to get destroyed just because he was going to make the most money by taking the fight. And he refused to allow his fighter to face Davis in a 12-round main event. ESPN was scheduled to televise Saturday night from Scope Arena in Norfolk. Sam Lukowitz recalled Devin Haney and his father Bill Haney allowing Ryan Garcia to fight when he stepped on the New York State Athletic Commission scales 143.2 pounds, 3.2 pounds above the contracted limit for the 12-round, 140-pound championship match in April at Barclays Stadium, Brooklyn. So here's the thing, guys. Bill Haney and David Haney, being money hungry and not willing to let a fight with Ryan Garcia go by because they figured that that was going to be their best shot at getting, some of Ryan Garcia's fans and maybe some pay-per-view money. They allowed Ryan Garcia to walk up there almost 4 pounds heavier. And they said, yeah, we'll take it. We'll just make you pay a million or so bucks, but we'll still fight you, right? Because they figured that the dividends from from the pay per view event would make up for it. But we know exactly what happened. Devin Haney lost that fight. He got dropped 3 or 4 times in that fight. And that's because he was conceding too many advantages to Ryan Garcia. They decided that money mattered more than Devin's health. They they took that gamble, right? In the case of Mr. Sam Lukowitz, he was not willing to allow Keyshawn Davis to manipulate the weight to get away with it by only offering a pittance of 50,000 bucks to convince his needy fighter, the guy who we just talked about, underwent surgery to save his life in October, and he had been almost on a 2-year layoff. He wasn't about to let his fighter, as financially starving as he was, to take that fight under those conditions, because the way that Mr. Sam Lukowitz seen it is, I can get you almost $500,000 without even throwing a punch, and if we're here to do it, Edwin, we're here to do it for the money and for the belt, right? I think that's agreeable, guys. I think Mr. Sam Lukowitz, who a lot of people have called a snake oil salesman, they've resented him because he did not make a Caleb Plant versus David Benavidez fight when both of those fighters were undefeated. They resent him because a lot of the fights that Canelo, the offers between Canelo and David Benavidez' team, they never agreed because maybe Sam Lukowitz was playing too much of a hardball boxing. But whatever you want to say about Sam Lukowitz, in this case, he was in the right. He basically allowed his fighter to walk away with 500,000 and protected his health so that he could fight another day at optimal peak performance. And that's what we want, guys. We want fights that are competitive. We want fights to include fighters at their best when possible, right? There's no perfection, but there is better health and better circumstances that allow a fight to be more competitive. And that's what we want, because the more competitive the fight is, the more exciting it'll be. Because if you just want to see knockouts, yeah, you can get a geek off the streets, get the best fighter in the world and just put him in there. And yeah, of course, the best fighter in the world is going to knock off
I
that
want to
geek
see
off the
high
street.
IQ.
High IQ, bro.
IQ.
but okay. Thank you for coming on by, man. Because I was about to wrap up this live, but this is the most important topic that I can think of. Dream. This is what Sam Lukowitz said when Keyshawn Davis missed weight. He called it unprofessional. He called it crazy.
Mm.
He said that Santos would be taking too much risk against an opponent who would have outweighed him by a large margin by the time that the open bell rang. And he says this quote: "I saw Davis dancing." Lukowitz told the ring when he witnessed before the fighters walked in the scale. "After 30 years, I know boxing and I know boxers. That's when I realized that he never trained to fight at 135," referring to Keyshawn. "He trained to fight at 140. And money doesn't buy health. I'm responsible for the health of my fighter, and I would not allow him to fight." Now, that is true. At the weigh-in, Keyshawn Davis walked in there smiling, hopping, skipping, knowing that he was gonna not make the weight, knowing that he was gonna walk in there almost 4 pounds heavier. But he had his whole hometown there. They were all gonna cheer him on. They probably didn't care. They just wanted him to win, right? Tribalism at its finest. Instead of watching the best fight the best, you're willing to just side with your own because they're from your hometown or they're made of the same racial makeup, whatever, right? They're willing to sacrifice a fighter as long as you win. I'm not for that. I'm here to fight. I'm here to see the best fight the best. I don't want Alexander Usyk to fight Naoya Inoue, right? I want Naoya Inoue to fight MJ Akhmadaliev. I want Canelo to fight David Benavidez, right? So if you're just trying to watch a guy win, yeah, there's many ways to cook up that fight right there. And that's what exactly Keyshawn Davis was trying to do. He was trying to convince this guy who hadn't fought for 2 years. It was probably hard to pay rent. He was trying to convince him to take $50,000 as a slap to the wrist and convince him to go over there and get easily knocked out, right? And Sam Lukowitz says, "Nah, I see you dancing. I saw that. You never wanted to hold your word. Your word is bond. You said you were going to make weight, and you never even tried to. So F off." And you know how Edwin de los Santos paid him back, Dream? Do you know what he did?
Um,
Edwin de los Santos, he broke the relationship
oh yeah,
between him and Sam Lukowitz.
yeah.
Can you believe that?
Yeah, you know why?
Well, okay, so people are speculating and saying that there's more to it. It's
Yeah,
not
there is.
like some people are saying Edwin de los Santos wanted uh, to fight for the belt, and some people and he wanted to have an opportunity to become a champion. Okay, yeah, bro. When you fought Shakur Stevens, you had an opportunity to become a champion, and you didn't fight with vigor. You wanted to play tag with him, right? And now you telling me that you're gonna fight for the belt when you haven't fought for 2 years and you just underwent surgery on your leg? Are you telling me right now that right now you're really going for that? Well, I could have both things. I could get money and I could maybe upset this guy. I really believe in myself. You know what, Edwin? I believe you, bro. I really do. But you know what I'm hearing, Dream? I'm hearing that Sam Lukowitz was probably shorting Edwin de
Yeah,
los Santos from the purse.
yeah,
Yeah. Whoa. What do you mean? Yeah. You're saying it like you know some dirt that I don't.
yeah. Well, people are saying it like it's a fact. You know, yeah. I mean, I'm pretty sure you heard about the fake or the not the fake offer, but the actual offer that they gave Santos. I forget. I think it was this fight. It was the Keyshawn fight, I believe, and it might be some other. I might be wrong, but there was a fight that and a bunch of reports, and it was a bunch of factual reports, and they said from factual like sources, and they said 400,000 to fight to fight Keyshawn or whoever I'm talking about, and
Yeah.
and then next thing you know, um, Santos said it wasn't 400,000. You know, it was 250, and then he gets to the nitty gritty, finds out that he's getting 400,000, and he's only getting 250K. You know, like that's what's on the table, regardless of before or after taxes. Like they just give you that number, you know, and they gave him a short 150K less, you know. So he was taken away, and who knows? There might be like some kind of lawsuit. I don't know, bro. Like, cause uh,
What? Wait, wait,
yeah,
wait, 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 wait.
hold on. And there's this because I know this because there was a fighter interview by the name of Quentin Randall. He was on TVV, and he was like saying they asked him about that situation, and they're like, "Oh, have you heard anything about the Sam Lukowitz?" He goes, "Oh yeah. He was taking money from him. We all know that." Like that. And I was like, "Damn!" Like just like that. He goes, "Yeah, everyone knew. Everyone knew. He got caught red-handed. You know. So
Who
um,
got red-handed?
Lukowitz, like he got
Uh,
caught red-handed, like pretty
with
not
this
like
with this Edwin de los Santos fight.
yeah." And then he goes,
Wow.
you know, because Quinn Randall's a free agent,
Yeah.
and they were like asking him about Sam Lukowitz, and he goes, "Nah," and he's like, "Hell nah," you know, like I want to go to him, you know. So that's what he said. He goes, "Yeah, he was, oh yeah, he was getting, he was shortening his fighters' money, you know. So it's not just him, you know. So dude, he got David Benavidez, bro. So it's like, and Gabriela Fondora, you know, like it's looking kind of sus, bro. And he does look like a sus guy, bro. Like he doesn't look like a trustworthy guy. Just looking at him, like his image. But yeah, dude, it's just that's pretty much what I've heard, and then that's what uh other people like Bill Haney was saying, like, oh yeah, there's a lot of snake shit going on in the background after he mentioned him. So stuff like that.
Wait. Okay, so what you're saying is Edwin de los Santos was under the impression that it was going to be 250 some thousand bucks, when in reality it was 400,000.
Yeah,
And then Sam Lukowicz tried to play it off like no, it's 400,000, but then after the manager's cut and your
taxes.
manager's fee and taxes,
Yeah,
you're getting 250.
yep. And
And
he
is
was like,
that true or not?
yeah, it doesn't sound like it because he's supposed to give him the numbers straight up, and then you know,
Oh,
so
I see.
and so he got caught red-handed, you know, like
So you're thinking he was going to tell him 250, and then on top of that, he was still going to short him more for
oh yeah,
taxes and promotional fees and everything.
yeah, pretty much.
And
That's
Edwin
what it
hasn't
sounds like.
spoken about that.
Uh, he like he doesn't want to talk about it. He said, you know, I've seen him on two interviews so far, and one with this dude named Broadway Joel, and
So
he's
he's not, yeah, the Dominican guy. So he's not trying to speak on that because he's already been advised to not speak about that because then it might be defamation of character.
maybe
And maybe Sam Lukowitz would get him for that. So
yeah
he's trying to just stay mum and just come at him legally.
I don't know.
Wow. And here I thought Sam Lukowicz was doing right by his fighter. Look, if this is true, if this is true, ladies and gentlemen, this is the reason why
He's still
we
got other
started the home.
fighters though.
Yeah, of course, but it basically is letting people know that all of the other fighters are at risk of being bamboozled, and short shrifted, like he just tried to do with Edwin de los Santos. But the funny thing is this: why him when he could do the same thing for Benavides and Fundora and Sebastian, and Gabriela, and we don't hear the same things. Sam Lucas, this would be new, bro. Why wouldn't he try to be stingy on David Benavides' opportunities instead of this guy? It was not like he was gonna make a lot of money with this guy right here.
Yeah, I mean those are his money fight. I mean, yeah, you're right, but Dos Santos is a smaller fight. Like he's he's
Probably not
going from
legally protected enough, huh?
yeah, he's going and he's going network to network. Like he went from top rank to or from yeah, the zone. Or no, who did he fight? Um
Top rank, and then I think he was with the PBC
yeah,
because he's the one
PBC.
who
So
beat Rayo Valenzuela.
yeah, so he's paying a lot of network fees, you know? So there's a lot more to it. Network fees pretty much when you're like a free agent and you have to pay to be on TV. I know this because my uncle fought Dan, and I found this out like a couple months ago. He fought on the HBO card on on a yeah on the HBO After Dark card, and he had to pay fees to be on TV, but the check was bigger, you know.
Mhm.
Um, so yeah, it's like you have to, once you go from one network to another, it's like more fees, not unless it's different when you're
Wow.
signed to them. So
So look, okay, guys, listen. This is all speculation, by the way. Here, I'm not here to. I was actually here to side with Sam, right? Because if he was able to secure at the end of the day, maybe he didn't. He wasn't direct, honest, and forthcoming. So maybe that's gonna make Edwin question
and he
whether it's
could
not.
and he could be proven innocent, you know, like because he's like he knows a bunch of paralegals and stuff like that. So he never
Well,
know. He
no,
might be
bro. No,
outside the
look.
system.
Can you distort the truth? Can you defend
Yeah, yeah,
against?
yeah.
Yeah, but no.
Offers.
Truth is truth, bro. Truth is truth. If there was evidence that states that the walkaway money, whether if Keyshawn Davis didn't make weight or not, was around 400 and some odd thousand, and he had something in writing, offering Edwin de los Santos 200 and something thousand to begin with, then
Because think
then
about it, he
that's
wouldn't.
evidence, bro.
Yeah, but think about it. He wouldn't. He never took the fight though, and he never took out money. You know, so he or I think yeah, he did take the like technically they never went through with the fight, and
No.
then like the fight never happened, bro. So it's like, what is there to sue? You know, um. So I don't know.
No. It's because okay, uh, the sanctioning bodies for that weight division and in that state require them to pay their purse in the case that a fighter cancels the fight or doesn't make weight in this case, which is
Oh yeah,
basically the
yeah,
same
yeah.
thing. Keyshawn Davis is the one who blew the weight. Keyshawn Davis has to do everything, including pay these guys more money in order to convince him to take that fight with those odds because he's the one who forfeited on the contract. He's the one that did not abide by the terms and conditions of their agreed upon contract. And you know, one of the things that I hate the most is when a man says one thing and doesn't live up to his word. Right now, you can be like, "Oh, well, Keyshawn Davis wasn't. He was never gonna make that weight because he outgrew the division." Like he stated, "Oh, I've been here for 4 years or whatever." Bro, you just became a champion. You got paid the most money ever after when you beat Dennis Baranchik. You have more access to resources, to nutritionists, to all these other things to make weight cutting easier for you. Are you going to tell me that a guy that's older than you or around the same height, I mean, that hasn't fought for 2 years, who just underwent surgery, who had to go to rehabilitation and whatnot in order to strengthen his legs. You're gonna tell me that that guy, who's actually laid out for so long, you're gonna tell me that that guy had an easier time making weight than you when he hasn't had money to eat for 2 years? Don't give me that crap, Keyshawn. Don't give me that crap. You, like Sam Lukowitz said, you had no intention of making the weight. You were here to make it easy on yourself in order to destroy this guy in your hometown, to bring some excitement to your hometown. But you never thought your home base, your fan base, would turn on you, because that's the one thing that I'm seeing. The Screaming Madman made a short that is actually making the rounds. It's gotten quite a good amount of views and a lot of hearts and likes or whatever, right? It's probably about a 25,000 views so far. That's pretty good out there, especially since he hasn't been uploading nothing recently, right? But you should see all the people that are reaching out. They're from Virginia and they're saying stuff like, yeah, man, this guy's a good kid. Yeah, he really disappointed us. Or, you know what? Keep Kelvin's name out of this because Kelvin is one person. Keyshawn Davis is another. And Kelvin is a good dude. And Keyshawn Davis, I don't even know what to say about the guy. These are people from Virginia disappointed at these guys. There's people that are fans of the Davis that flew into town, right? And he disappointed them, right? So he's not disappointing me, guys. Like, you're like, whoa, who's Warp Speed? Don't worry about Warp Speed. Nobody gives a crap about Warp Speed. I'm talking about the people that do give a crap about him, that feel discouraged and disillusioned and betrayed by Keyshawn Davis not making weight. And that's exactly what Sam Lucas was saying. Keyshawn, you're not a man of your word, and you want to hurt my fighter. And I'm not here for that. I'm here to make money and put him in the best position to be a champion. And we're not going to make it easy on you. I don't care if you people boo you and jeer at you and whatnot. I'm protecting my fighter. You're telling me that that guy right there, he actually had other motives to not take the fight, and he was skimping at the top, bro? That's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, his boy Shakur did the same thing. So I mean, there
Yeah,
was presidents, bro. So
true,
he,
true.
he probably and guess what?
All
Um
those Bomac fighters, they're just
no
bringing
no no
smaller
no.
guys up there.
I think this is the correlation right here.
Hmm,
And you're gonna get your mind blown, right?
hmm, hmm.
Uh so before this fight, he invites somebody to his training camp, right?
Uh-huh.
Before this fight, like weeks prior, months prior. Uh and and this dude uh is known for telling other people to move up in weight, you know, go at your comfortable weight, just like he told Shakur, just like he told Ryan Garcia, Floyd, you know. Floyd
What?
was at his training camp prior to this, and there you go. There you go. That's why he went overweight, gained advice from Floyd, which got me torn a little bit, you know. But he literally followed Ryan and Shakur's footsteps, and it has Floyd Mayweather's paw prints or whatever you want to call it all over it. You know, fingerprints all over it.
Ball Prince, bro. Come on.
He's a monster.
Oh, okay. No, no. So, okay. So, yeah. So he's advising these guys. That makes sense. Money Mayweather, Floyd Money
That
Mayweather.
was my
Uh,
correlation.
yeah, and that makes sense. But here's the other thing. It's more of a Bo McIntyre fighter kind of thing, because all those fighters from Bo McIntyre's camp, they only fight smaller guys. It's starting to seem to me like all of McIntyre. Look, they all have the same common patterns, right? They're all southpaws. They always fight in divisions where they have the height and reach advantage, and a lot of the times the youth on their side, right? They bring up fighters. Like in the case of Kelvin Davis, the one thing they could say about Kelvin is that, okay, maybe he stayed out of the fray, maybe he's not involved in that whole jumping of Nair Albright. But you know what he did? Nair Albright is a 135-pound fighter who his brother Keyshawn Davis beat like about 3 years ago, right? Um, that's the one fight that was considered a no decision because it was fought in Texas, and I guess Keyshawn Davis got popped for smoking weed, and they're very strict on smoking weed in Texas, so they considered it some kind of a banned substance, and they disqualified him from a victory there, right? But Nair Albright is a 135 pounder. Kelvin Davis is a 140-pound fighter. Kelvin Davis had a 6-inch height and 6-inch reach advantage. Shakur Stevens, for the most part, has always fought shorter men with shorter reach, right? Kelvin Davis does the same thing. Keyshawn Davis fights Dennis Branchik, who, guess what? He's a shorter, less
Yeah,
reachier
but this is
fighter.
this is the
What I'm
thing.
trying to say is this: these guys are taking the softest touches, and they have to have all the physical advantages in order to be competitive, right?
It's,
But they're the kind of fighters that once they step up to weight, like when Keyshawn Davis goes up to 140 and 147, especially, man, they're going to be faced with problems because they won't have the physical advantages. And that's the problem with Bomac. He's setting them up to always beat a certain type of fighters and never test themselves. When the going gets tough and the fighters are at their height and reach, man, they're going to be in a hard world to live in. That's just what it is. And maybe that's the same curse that's going to be following Terrence Bud Crawford. Once he starts fighting guys that are his height and reach, he's not going to be as competitive. Or who knows, bro? It seems like Terrence is the guy who's just been able to just defy the whole pattern of
I,
Bomac.
no, I think it's you're comparing like the brothers like Kelvin and all them uh like they're all different, bro. Like one or Kelvin is the least talented. Like he spent the least amount of time in boxing, bro. Like he has not been training for that long, you know. But dude, this like he's I remember him being in the same bracket as Keone, you know, my Keone Washington. And then Keone ended up being the guy that he lost to. So that speaks like what level he was on and how we got there is because, man, I'm sorry to say, it's because of his brother, bro. Like he was up there, you know, but he never was as consistent like his two brothers. And he was I want to say he might be from like a different dad, bro. So he lived it like somewhere else. He lives somewhere else. Cause no, I heard the whole interview. I heard an interview of his. He's like from a different dad, I think. And pretty much he's lived a different lifestyle. He's and it's really
Yeah,
the other
he lived on his own since 18.
yeah, and his brothers, other ones were like more into boxing, and you can see it. You know, I think his other brothers talented too, but he lacks experience. You know, he got moved up the ranks once he seen his brother and didn't get that experience in like his brother Keyshawn. Keyshawn's the most experienced one. And you
Mhm.
got to remember too, he was without Bomac, you know? He was in his home gym in Virginia. Not his home gym, but his
Ah,
hometown gym. He was never like he just barely got with him with Bomac. I don't know how
uh,
many fights ago, but he's been with them for a while now, but I'm saying like he wasn't with them during the national trials or anything like that. Like he wasn't, you know, it was somebody else. So he comes in with a different type of IQ and a different type of defense, like or a different type of IQ and ability to change the game plan. Like he's a different level, bro. But so I think with him, he's just in his own head, man. Like he just honestly, man, he should have just I liked where he was going, liked the direction. I still like the direction he was going. I just don't like him moving all the way up to 140 now. You know,
mhm.
it's like fuck, man. You could have. I mean, I get it. You're running out of options, but uh, man, it's just you're at one now. You're at 140, and then now Shakur is gonna be like he's not even with Top Rank anymore. So it's like fuck, man. Like who's gonna be that guy at 135? Loma retired. and it's like, man, it's starting to get thin at 135 kind of, but
Yeah, yeah,
but there's
exactly.
there's always, man, Emiliano actually moved up too, I think.
Yeah,
But
what to one to what 140 40, right?
yeah, 140. So I was like, damn, man. So I guess that's a good fight for him. But those are two guys that are like not full-fledged 140 pounders. Like I want them to be like the number one and number two guys. But now they have to like show me that they're good enough to be at 140, you know? Um, so I guess it's Abdullah Mason time, you
Yeah.
know?
Oh
Um,
yeah.
so that's what kind of sucks. But I really liked Keyshawn, man. It's not over, bro. Like I don't think his image really got ruined that bad. Like just because what matters to me is the damage he didn't do to Near Albright. You know, if he had him lumped up and like really hurt him, then that would have been like, bro, you're such a piece of shit. You know, like sorry for my language. If
Yeah.
you were to like really hurt not here, but it sounds like he just wanted to get to him, you know, like just to get in his face, and it probably just ended up being in a scuffle, but like it don't look like punches were thrown. It did kind of like oh man, I wanted to like comment on so many people's posts, but I was like, man, like let me see, like I gotta wait and see if he really did jump him, and
Well,
really
it turns out that it turns out
Nahir
that Nair
Albright,
never actually called it a jump. He said that
yeah.
they
Well,
basically.
Nahir Albright said it initially though. That's what drove the media crazy, you know. So I was like,
No,
dude, he jumped
I
him.
tried to find that. He never
Yeah,
said that. Everybody ran with the word jump, but he
yeah, they
said that
ran
they
with it.
came at to him. They came up to him and they attacked him. Is what he said.
Yeah, and
He said,
they ran with it though, and that's like, damn,
yeah.
man. So I
But
wanted to
bro, he
be,
did say that there was contact between head and head. So that means that Keyshawn Davis walked over there and headbutted him in that thing. Because that's true. He didn't have that big old lump in his eye. Like,
but he probably came too much full force because a headbutt is a headbutt. That's gonna hurt me too, you know.
yeah, well, not
So,
really. It's like it depends on who's throwing it, right? And what part of the body you're throwing it. Because if you, let's say that you throw a headbutt from your forehead to a guy's temple, yeah, the guy's temple is going to be destroyed. You might even kill that guy if you headbutt him in the temple. But if you're the person that's instigating the headbutt, obviously you're bracing yourself for the force of the impact. The other guy
but
isn't, so
but it's
that guy's going to
also
take the brunt of it.
like intentions. If he was within striking distance, he could have struck him, but instead his head was trying to like get to him, and its intentions. It's like you really think you were gonna hurt the dude by banging your head to another head, like I don't know.
No,
He
it
was
was more. No, I think it's. I think, yeah, I think it was blown out a bit out of proportion. But the
yeah.
fact of the matter is that two Davis brothers went into the dressing room of another camp to start crap,
That's
and
true. Like
then one guy walks
you
with
said that's a
the.
crime.
No, no, I just said that we can't change the fact that that's what happened. And the other
Yeah,
thing is, one guy, the guy who was in the dressing room in the first place, has a big old lump in his right side, right?
yeah.
And it's like when Bud Crawford walks up to Canelo and gets up in his face. Imagine Bud Crawford just gets up a little too much in his face, and there's accidental head clash between head, and then Canelo just has a bump. I think that's what happened. He just tried to get over there and like try to, like, like Keyshawn Davis does. He always gets in the fighters, like in the weigh-ins or the pressers. He always walks over there, gets in their face. He does that. He did that to Edwin de los Santos too. He goes over there and he licks his chops and he like gets in his face, right? That's probably what happened, but he got too close and he ended up accidentally headbutting. I think that's what happened. That's why in the ear wasn't like too up in arms about it all. He was just like, yeah, they try to come at me and whatever. But yeah, I don't
But
think it was like they jumped him like pa 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 pa.
yeah, it's like, okay, you trying to create drama, like you definitely created drama, um, but it could have been worse. This is the fight game, and you didn't throw any punches, and it's your intentions too, man. Like I said, it's like, were you trying to actually like
He was
throw
trying to
punches.
intimidate him.
Like, did you actually try to throw punches? And that's bad in itself, right there. That right there should get you like some kind of discipline, man. Like you need something. Like they need to do something about that just to teach you a lesson because you didn't. There's no police report. You didn't. Nothing's happened to you, but you did put your child in a bad situation, though. Let's not forget about that. Like they were like televising it, and what's his name, Osuna, or what's his name, Bernard.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Bernardo Stuna.
yeah, he was saying you do not put your kid in a situation. And I was like, your kid, and I seen the kid right there. I was like, oh shit, that's crazy, man. Like you put your kid through that, it don't even matter, man. Like
Yeah,
you
that's
made
how you know that those guys are reckless, bro. They're out of
it's
control.
like
They're reckless, and they're
it's like
they're
I thought you guys cared about kids, or like I thought you guys cared about the community. It's like your own kids right there freaking going crazy.
yeah,
It's like
bro. That's what I'm saying. You're so emotionally carried away that you act stupid. Those are
yeah.
people that you cannot trust an
Yeah, and
individual like that.
he gets me to like think that I think he's just trying to in his head so much that everything that he does will get him money and get him more notoriety, And I think it gets to his head maybe. It's like every emotion that he feels, now he's confused whether it's like hype or it's like his actual what he's actually feeling. Like that's what people have that kind of people can have psychological problems when they actually get famous like this, bro. And it can be at a small level like this. And there's a lot of crazy people, bro. Theatrical people that live in Virginia, and uh, and I know this because the craziest football players come out of Virginia, and yeah. So yeah, man, it's just like just the way he talks. I'm like, damn, man, like what's up with your head? Like you talk with your eyes all wide open, like some psychological shit going on there. Like he's just crazy. And and it gets to his head, you can tell, and it gets him to hype up maybe, and maybe he has ADD. Who knows? But dude, you just never know, man. So stuff like that. You can still I get this vibe from him that he's like you talk to him and he treats everyone with respect though. Like I like him because of that. Because of how good he does his interviews and he's like really like he just gives everyone a show, when he talks. But it's like, all right, you're giving everyone too much of a show now. It's like we don't want this type of show. But dude, he literally like kind of crashed out a little bit. It was a medium crash out. Um, he didn't say any racial slurs as a black man, and he didn't. And it's like, what can you say as a racist, you know, as a black man? But he didn't do anything too crazy. Not no To Ryan level crazy. So he's kind of okay. He's just gotta let water pass go under the bridge, I guess. I'm not sure if they're gonna do anything to him, but at this point they would have done something, but it's been a minute. So
Mhm.
he did get in trouble though, like Vince Vargas said, like fans I heard 2,000 fans got a refund. So
Wow, that's what
two
I'm saying, bro.
so it's like,
Like
dude, you
a
fucked
lot of
up.
them were from Norfolk
Regardless of
or
what
Norfolk or
legality,
whatever they call it.
regardless if you're off the hook legally, like you didn't get charged with no, assault or anything like that. Your company's mad at you, bro. Your job is your boss is mad at you. Like you've like you lost the company a lot of money, you
Yep.
know? So
Actually, I'm still waiting on the repercussions. I want to know what
nothing has
Bob Arum
happened.
is gonna do about it. Is he
I think
he's
it's
still gonna?
water under the bridge,
Wow.
I think.
Wow.
Oh,
Yeah,
it's
I
like
thought they would let him go or something. Like, you know what, bro? You lost me money. You disappointed. I set you up a hometown fight, right? Where
hey,
I literally brought a fighter from that hasn't fought in 2 years, and for your brother, I brought a guy who you beat at 135, and I'm making him fight at 140, even though he's so shorter and so shorter arms to him. I'm rolling out the carpet for you guys, and this is the crap you do, bro.
but and they've done it. All three of the brothers have performed there before. So to them, they thought, hey, I can trust you now. you know,
Mhm.
and obviously it genuinely bothers them when their brothers lose. Like, and I get it. Like, you guys want to.
That's
That
your
tells me,
fault.
yeah, and that tells me that you want to be the best. That's cool, but this is your job now.
No, it tells me that they're emotional
Yeah,
and
they're
they're
too
childish.
emotional. But to give the older brother credit, the older brother was like uh
I
chilling.
apologize.
Yeah, he was apologizing. He goes, dude, my bad, bro. Like, I didn't mean to, like, and
Yeah, I respect Calvin for that. I
yeah,
really do.
yeah, and he was like, okay, like that's what, like, usually that's what the older brother does. But even Terrence apologized to him, you know.
Mhm.
So yeah, dude, he's at least he's not he didn't they didn't like do anything that made him incapable of training, for weeks, because that would be taking money out of their pocket. So nothing crazy like that happened. But a headbutt is kind of
Mhm.
stopping you from sparring. So,
Mhm.
it's like, how long is that thing gonna be there? I would be kind of mad. I'm like, damn, this fucking head's still there. I can't even train. Like, I can't even spar because this fucking guy, you know. So I'd be kind of
It-
mad, you know.
you know what? We'll call it a night in a little bit, but there's
All right.
something that Vince is talking about, right? So wait, okay, so wait, so okay, I guess we did talk about it. And the last thing I wanted to talk about is about man. We're not going to talk about that.
What?
But
What?
Mr.
What?
Vince, about Manny Pacquiao, he
Uh,
made the Hall of Fame a week ago in
mhm,
Catastota, New York.
mhm.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, Manny Pacquiao, in my opinion, is the greatest fighter that ever lived. Easily the greatest fighter in
Yeah,
my generation.
I think he broke barriers of willpower, that
Yeah,
he showed us what a human can do
yeah,
past its limit, like we had the Neil Armstrongs, like I said, bro, I want to see the best humans, what they do at what they do. I want to see the highest I want to see what our potential is as humans, and
yeah,
he's one of them.
yeah. Well, it's like this. Look, Manny Pacquiao will never, there'll never be another Manny Pacquiao, guys.
He's got to
And
come from the struggle right now. He's got to be homeless right now.
there's people there's people that when they see Naoya Inoue, right, they see a lot of similarities with him and Manny Pacquiao, not necessarily in fighting style, but in the opportunities to be as great as Manny, right? They're both the same. They're both Asians. They're both the same height and reach. They're both very destructive, very dominant, very powerful knockout artists. But the fact of the matter is that Manny Pacquiao is more than just a dominant fighter or a guy that transcends weight, uh, a pound for pound fighter. He's a guy that when he was a teenager, a little kid, he was actually surviving by fighting anybody for the equivalent of $1 or a bowl of rice in the Philippines. This guy was so poor that he literally fought for his food. He started off as a professional at 108 pounds. Now everybody's like, "Oh, well, he became a champion at 115, and then he went up to 118. That's 3 pounds difference, man." And then he went up to 135, and then 135, and then so forth and so on. Guys, he fought the champions, established the men in all of these weight classes, having been one of the poorest, malnourished individuals in the Philippines, fighting for the equivalent of $1 maybe 5 different times in a day, guys. Fighting strangers and not asking what their background was or fighting. Just, I don't care who you are. I need to eat. I need to provide for my family,
Top five
right?
fighter of all time.
Top five? No, I'm putting him up there as the greatest fighter of all time.
Mm,
A guy who
I think he's
is a
top five.
champion in eight weight divisions. Fought in every single person, guys. Look at his record. Look at his record and look how he beat them. He literally did not tap dance to a win. He did not jab his way to wins. He destroyed your favorite fighters. A Mexican killer, retiring them, blinding them. There will never be another Manny Pacquiao, guys. And in fact, Manny Pacquiao, the one thing that I'm very divided about is that Manny Pacquiao never passed the torch, right? I'm not saying that he didn't get beat. I'm just saying Manny Pacquiao was so great that even when they beat him, the people that beat him didn't become the next man in line. When Yordenis Ugas beat him, he didn't become the next man in line. When Jeff Horn beat him, he didn't become the next man in line. Floyd Money Mayweather, he was already the man, right? But any of these fighters, Marquez was already a name, and he didn't become the next man in line. He retired after he defeated Manny Pacquiao. Manny Pacquiao could never pass the torch because Manny Pacquiao, when he lost, you never beat him at his peak. He was always old, or he'd already been shop worn, or whatnot, right? Or he was in his eighth weight division, whatever. But that just speaks to the volumes of the greatness of Manny Pacquiao. But here's the thing: when Calistoga, the Boxing Hall of Fame, officially recognized and inducted Manny Pacquiao into the Hall of Fame a week ago, they basically retired him. Ladies and gentlemen, in case you don't know this, in order to become a Hall of Fame candidate, you must be officially retired for at least 2 years inactive. Manny Pacquiao never announced his retirement. He just lost to Jordani Sugas, and he took a year off, which became 2 years off, which became almost 3 years off or whatever.
But
And then
usually,
he decided that he's gonna fight Mario Barrios, the defending champion.
yeah, it's usually like you're a first, like it's unique for a fighter to be a first ballot and still be fighting at a high level. Like, it takes fighters like Bernard Hopkins. Bernard Hopkins could have done that, but he decided to fight again. I forgot who he fought in his last fight. I think it was like Joe Smith or uh, one of those fights, but he could have gotten the Hall of Fame like a couple years sooner. And
Mhm.
pretty much he decided to fight, and he got inducted like a couple years after that because he pretty much uh like ruined his the qualifications and all that. So
Mhm.
you have to like restart type of thing. He still got in, but it
Um,
takes a guy to get voted in and to be good enough to actually come out. Because I've listened to a lot of not a lot, but one or two or like two interviews from Mauricio Suleiman, and he
mhm.
said when his dad was a commissioner, his dad got ridiculed for making I forget which fighter. I think Roberto Duran and Hagler or Hearns, one of those guys. And he got ridiculed for it, but it ended up being one of the greatest fights of all time. And they're like, and that's pretty much my moment right now.
Yeah,
It's Manny Pacquiao and Mario Barrios, and he said, why is because how many people say they have Manny Pacquiao over Mario Barrios? There you go. You know, like
yeah. No, no, no. I know, but this is the thing that I resent of Manny Pacquiao.
what?
With Manny Pacquiao, yeah. With Manny Pacquiao never retired.
Man, he's such a pancake, flip
He
flopper.
just no, 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 no,
I'm just
no.
kidding.
See, Lomachenko, right? He did the right thing. He allowed Lomachenko fans like myself to reflect on his career and to know that we would miss him for the rest of our lives when he said, "I'm retiring." Right? He gave us that. He knew he had a responsibility to his fans. He knew that there was people waiting on, knowing whether he would fight another day or not. And he said, you know what? No, I'm not fighting, guys. Thank you for your support. That's why I appreciate Manny Lomachenko, the second greatest southpaw after, or third, maybe you got Marvin Hagler there, I
But this is
guess,
the thing.
after
Like
Manny
this is the
Pacquiao.
thing. But there's the thing. You need to judge fighters for their accolades as well. Like there's so many fighters who have some of these attributes that we never got to see and we get to appreciate so many years after. Like there's a lot of guys that had the same speed as Sugar Ray Leonard, the same guys that had the same power as him and combined, like but they never were gold medalist like him. They were never able to fight the certain fighters they were able to fight, because
Exactly, but that's another reason for why I feel the same about Manny Pacquiao for never having retired.
I'm talking
See, the
about Loma
fact of the
though.
matter is,
But yeah,
who?
Loma, because you said you're like, or I don't know,
Yeah,
like
yeah, 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 yeah. But I
Loma's
mean,
just
but
he's not the greatest fighter. I'm saying he's not like he
yeah.
can't be. It's just there's so many fighters that he could have fought, bro. Like, and you can't blame him for that for the other guys not wanting to fight him, but it is what it is, man. Like he didn't get Tank's name in there. He didn't get Dev, or he did get Dev. He didn't get Shakur's name in there. Like, there's so many ways to, like you have to be blessed to be one of the greatest fighters of all time because that means you were given the opportunity.
Oh yeah, of
You know,
course, of course. Yeah, yeah,
so
yeah. But
stars got to align because Loma
mostly I'm just
technically is
mm,
one of the greatest of all time, bro. Like attributes, like the way he moves, but accolades is just
yeah.
he's a two-time. Yeah, go ahead, go ahead.
No, no, no. You're right. You're right. But what I'm saying is this, right? Um, Manny Pacquiao shouldn't even be fighting for this belt, right? You cannot take a nearly 3 year layoff and then cut the line and then get a shot at a belt.
Well,
Manny
this is the thing.
Pacquiao, once he
Barbara said
knew that he,
is the
Mhm.
weakest link. Go ahead.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. He's still cutting the line. Manny Pacquiao lost before he took this fight. His last fight before Mario Barrios writing that contract, it was a loss. I mean, it was a clear loss to your Dennis Ugas. And then he took 2 years. Look, here I am complaining about Keyshawn Davis trying to bring up a hurt fighter that is almost on a 2 year layoff, and yet you don't want me to come and dig at Manny Pacquiao for having laid off for like 3.5 years before taking on this fight, and then he cuts in line to fight for a belt. You think I'm not gonna give him crap? I mean, here's the thing, bro. Catastoga was waiting. The Hall of Fame was waiting on Manny Pacquiao to officially declare that he was retired, bro. If 2 years of inactivity, 3 years of inactivity is not retirement, what else are people supposed to think? I thought Manny Pacquiao officially retired without ever having told us that, which I was so mad at because I was like, Manny, you should have given us at least a cruise down, Hollywood or Manila City or somewhere, just say thank you guys for all the support. I'm out, so
Well,
that
he's
we could
back.
celebrate. And we
He's
never got that. And what we get instead is after a loss, a very clear, convincing loss to Jordanis Ugas. This guy gets to cut the line and become a possible champion at 48 years of age or whatever. Uh, and what does that do for the Hall of Fame recognition? Which means that he had already been retired for 2 years. What does that do? It's so conflicting, bro. Do I love Manny? Absolutely. Did he did things right? Only fighting. But as far as handling his career and his retirement, bro, it's so full of chicanery. It's so full of corruption at the end that I'm just like, look, I get it, but I don't know if I can give you a pass, bro.
yeah. I don't know. It's just Manny Pacquiao said he's gonna fight. He's gonna continue to fight after this. So
He
I mean,
is.
well, if he wins, yeah, you know. But
Well, damn. Well, yeah. I mean, he's gonna have to defend, right?
yeah, he said he would defend it. So he's like, I'm back, you know. And after they asked him like, "Are you gonna continue to fight?" He's like, "Yeah, I'm back," you know. So uh if he's able to shut us up with with the bigger name and beat him, then it's like shit. Fuck. I'm sorry. You know,
Yeah. No, I
like
get it. I get it. He's gonna do what he can do, right? That's
imagine he
every
becomes
fighter.
undisputed. Imagine it's just at 147. Just I got all the belts again. Thank you very much. You
Yeah.
know,
So let's wrap it up right here, Dream. Let me just read a couple of the messages. Mr. Vince Vargas, I've been reading your messages, but I can't highlight them or I can't, like comment on them because I could highlight them, right? Like I can tag them and clip them, and then I have to do this and then that just to get your thing up there. But I really can't comment to them because there is a comment thing. I don't know if you guys noticed, but I only commented about 3 or 4 different times, right? It's because under this new version of StreamYard, it's so complicated, especially on mobile. It's very cluttered, very clumsy. It's not user friendly. It's horrible. This is why I refuse to pay money to go live with StreamEast, right? But Mr. Vince Vargas says the mini scuffle post fight Richard Torres Jr. versus Jared Anderson. Is that a thing, Dream? Was there a scuffle between Jared Anderson and Torres Jr. that is probably going to build up to a heavyweight fight? Do you know anything about that?
where there's a scuffle between them.
Apparently, Mr. Vince Vargas is saying that there was a scuffle backstage. Post fight
Man.
between Torres Jr. and Jared Anderson. Well, I reckon maybe in the last fight where Paulie Malignaggi was officiating, well, not officiating, but doing the commentary.
Oh, really?
No, it was not the one in Norfolk. Hey, so once I once was talking to a person from Virginia, from Norfolk. I call it Norfolk, bro, and they call it Norfolk, you know,
No
and
fault.
I, yeah, or Norfolk, right?
Oh,
And I said Norfolk, and it's like it's Norfolk, and he goes, that's not how you say it, it's Norfolk. I go, yeah, it is. The L is silent.
Norfolk.
It's Norfolk, Norfolk, or Norfolk, right? But I say Norfolk, like more of an E sound, and they're like, you don't say it Norfolk, and I go, yeah, you do. The L is silent.
Mm.
That's a joke, bro. All right, all right, yeah, you don't get it. Maybe Bomb Marin doesn't want bad blood or too much negativity coming going into a contract with other platforms, streaming, etc. You're right. Okay, he says you're wrong. Mr. Vince Vargas, let's just wrap up a couple of his messages. And he says, you're wrong. Just kidding. I lived through the Julio Cesar Chavez era and his prime, Don King. Chavez pulled out a lot of great fighters. The best Filipino fighter is Nonito Donaire. Just kidding. Props to him, though. Missed a lot of his early fights. I've been rewatching him on YouTube. Man, no, his early fights, Vince, they were incredible. There was one of my favorite fights with Nonito Donaire was when he got the comeuppance with, oh man, what was his name? Meritosian. Something Meritosian. Uh, and Meritosian had just barely came back from beating Donito Donaitis' older brother. I don't know if you guys knew this, but Donito Donaire had a brother. I forget, maybe something with a J, Gerard Donaire or something like that. And they fought. Meritosian broke the older Donaitis' jaw. And then like 3 or 4 fights after that, Donito Donaire, if I'm not mistaken, he goes up in weight. His brother has to retire, never fights again after he got his jaw broken. He got utterly destroyed. Donito Donaire goes up in weight to find Martosian. And it's a very good fight, right? But Donito Donaire is out for blood, guys. And Maritosian, he makes a mistake, throws a punch. Donito like ducks it or whatever, parries it, and he throws a punch and he knocks out Meritosian. And if I'm not mistaken, I think he broke his jaw too. So he broke the jaw of the man who broke his brother's jaw.
Oh shit.
And Maritosian was on a tear, bro. Like Maritosian was destroying everybody. And Onito Donaire came up and wait to fight that guy just for revenge for his brother, bro. It was incredible. My whole family was watching. This was a fight that took place like about 15 years ago or so. It was incredible. I'm not sure if you guys know this, but Nito the Knight has been around for like 3 decades, guys. He's been a champion in about 3 years, 30 years now.
Yeah, I
He's
know.
been. That's
I
crazy.
yeah, I remember seeing him my first professional boxing match. It was in Marine County in San Rafael, like up north. And
Mhm.
and he was there, and I remember I got like a picture with him, and I was like, man, how old was I? I was like 12 or 13. It's around the time I met that guy,
The
my
Knight is
uncle.
very approachable. He's very friendly.
Yeah, he's a cool guy. You know,
Yeah, but like most
he's a cool
Filipinos
guy.
are.
He's honestly, like, he's unique, bro. Like his, like, you don't find a lot of Bay Area, like, especially back in the day, like it was really just whites or Mexicans that were fighting in the Bay Area, or and blacks, but just and it was just Andre Ward, but at a high level, like for a Filipino guy to really make it that far, bro. Like he's really like one of few American Filipino fighters to like make it far. Like, but back in the day though, he was like
Mhm.
like I don't even know Filipino fighters like that, but I can really just name one. Oh, my uncle was in the same card as him. I got they have a poster, and he was like on the same poster. He was like, I forget for which fight. It was a Seattle card, and
Well,
he my
there's Brian Valora. He was also a very good 130, 135 pound fighter. There's a few other. There's a few other Puerto Rican. Filipino fighters. But yeah, no, I understand what
you
you're
know,
trying to say.
but
Oh,
like
Vince Fargo
Filipino,
says it was a great scuffle between between. I guess maybe it was a great scuffle between Torres and Jared Anderson.
I couldn't find it.
No, I know it was Cap. I guess he says no, no, no. It was the scuffle between the Davis brothers and Ear Albright.
This guy.
A Dream. Oh wow, well yeah, of course. Vince is De La Hoya one of the greatest. Oh yeah, absolutely, bro. That's definitely top 10. Like yeah, these. Dream.
Yeah,
You
bro.
said Manny Pacquiao is top 5. Give me the 5, bro.
Oh, you want me to give you the top five?
Yeah, because I'm not that smart.
To So for me, bro, I think Sugar Ray Leonard is probably number one, or like number
Nah, I'm
one.
good. Let's pass. Keep going.
Yeah, and what's it called? Floyd. I still think it's Floyd. And I'm a little scattered, right? I like Lennox Lewis because he's the greatest big man of all time in my book. I think he's the greatest heavyweight of all time. It's hard
Mhm,
to compare apples and oranges, like he's a heavyweight, other guys are like mid welterweights,
mhm,
so it's hard to like compare people's like greatness when they're both gold medalists and both world champions and dominated so
mhm,
both those guys kind of did it for me. And then it's Floyd because he's like just the way he wins, he's winning. And yeah, and then obviously it's Manny Pacquiao right behind him. No one's like ever gonna like move up so many damn weight classes. Like that was really like the Joe Frazier Ali fight, bro, for us was a Manny Pacquiao Floyd fight,
mhm.
So yeah, that was like our moment right there. But yeah, and that's three right there. So I think uh number that oh no, that's four because I put in Lennox Lewis. I'm kind of throwing him in there. He's just the greatest big man of all time,
Yeah,
And then
that's great.
yeah, and then just those guys, and then I also like um Jesus, just because I can't put Roy up.
Jesus, Jesus
Nah,
never fought.
nah, I can't put Roy up there. I can't put Roy up there just because he got laid out, man. I mean, so did
He got
Lennox,
laid out.
so did
Come on.
Lennox, so did Lennox, but he came back and beat him, you know? and knocked him out. Actually, Oliver McCall or something like that.
Yeah, Oliver
Um,
McCall.
yeah, ended up beating him the second time, knocking him out. So it's like, dude, you just erased her. You made he put you to sleep and you put him back to sleep. Like that's rare for sequence of events. You know, like imagine Manny Pacquiao puts Juan Manuel Marquez to sleep next. Like that kind of erases that, you know.
Yeah.
So um it's just a big scar, you know. He been put to sleep, but Manny Pacquiao continued to fight.
Look at
Him
my book.
fighting
It's Manny
him,
Pacquiao at the top, and that's it.
but oh yeah, I know my fifth one, right? And that's because um Manny Pacquiao, he kind of still considered one of the greatest, but it's his longevity, bro. His longevity kind of is erasing that because he continued to create highlight reels and continued to win after that. But I got my fifth one, number five. Number five, Bernard Hopkins. I
Yeah,
think,
that's a guy that yeah. So that's a guy that never gets the recognition. But I think
yeah,
the reason for that is because like when you put into into consideration that he beat um Tito
Trinidad,
Tito, huh?
Trinidad.
Tito Trinidad and Oscar de la Hoya. Uh, he like I guess Oscar de la Hoya had been like almost 2 years retired, and he brought him up or something like that. And and just like you can always like look into some stuff surrounding the fight, and you can discredit him. But yeah, no, I agree that
But
Bernard Hopkins. Yeah, but
longevity,
yeah, of course, ring IQ,
longevity,
dirty boxing. Like there was,
long,
um, there was,
long. Go
yeah,
ahead.
sorry.
Yeah, longevity erased all that, erased all of his his scars that he had from his past, and it's like, wow, you fighting at 49, that's like you're surpassing the threshold, like, of fighters that have been trying to like fight at such a late age and get knocked out. Like he
Mhm.
didn't like get knocked out like that. He just flew out of the ring, and he got up after that. It's like you can't really blame that. The ropes were like loose, and it's just you can't be that old and fighting, man. And that dude's is freaking alien, dude. Like you said,
Yeah, he's an alien, bro.
he's an
Yeah,
alien, bro.
I can't think about a top five guys, but I can say that
That's a
Manny
solid top
Pacquiao is
five, though,
right at the
right?
top, bro. Right at the
So
top.
Sugar mine is Sugar Ray, and then it's Floyd, and then it's Manny, and then it's Lennox, and then it's Bernard.
Yeah, no,
That's
I
my
don't have. Yeah,
realistic
that's
one.
great. That's a great lineup, bro.
Yeah.
That's man. Yeah, Bernard doesn't get the credit that he deserves. Um, Dream. I'm sure that there was a couple of things we wanted to talk about. I wanted to talk about. It's been a while since we've gotten together, and I gotta admit, I felt a little rusty, but I'm very excited about having hooked up with you and caught up with Vince and Nutty Meddy and the Mexican G and everybody else that hopped in this year live, right? Bernard Harkins over at Chavez, as Vince says. Um, we have to do this again, bro. Look, I'm thankful for the Madman, right? That he actually uploaded a short. He uploaded two shorts. Well, he made a couple of videos, and we were able to upload him on these channels. Um, he kept the he wasn't making content for like about 4 months. Okay, I guess he's making some content now. Good. I appreciate that he's uploading them. I'm still getting views and I'm still getting subscribers. But we have to talk about this because what we were about before the Madman, before the shorts, before anything like that, we were a very close knit community of boxing fans. We have to talk more about these kind of things. So if you're down, bro, I'm gonna start inviting you a little more often. Yes, I have been very busy. I've been doing other stuff. I've been doing baseball. I've been doing all kinds of crazy stuff, right? But I'll make time, bro. I'll make time. Maybe next time we'll go live. Maybe it'll be shorter. Maybe it'll be only for 1 hour. But I think we did have a lot to address. But man, we have to do this more often, Dream. What you say?
Yeah, man. Let me know. Let me know when.
And you just keep up with the news, bro. And if anything comes up, just let me know. Send something my way and let me know. Boom, did you hear this? And then I'll be like, let's talk about it. If it's noteworthy. But thank you, Dream, for having hopped on in this here live. Thank you, everybody. Mr. Vince, Arimedi, the Mexican G, everybody out there that is just listening in without commenting like a wallflower, like a wallflower. Go for it. Thank you for visiting us today in this here rare episode of Life at Warp Speed. I am your interlocutor for the night, Warp Speed, for Dream 123 and Warp Speed and everybody else that joined us today. I hope
Interlocutor
you are,
2.0.
yeah, I hope you are doing well of health and sane of mind. Oh, one last question. Here's the thing, okay. Always the smart commenters, right? Oh, Mr. Vince Vargas says, I got Chavez, not Bernard. So he has Chavez over him. During his career, he held the WBC super featherweight title from 1984 to 87. Man, that's a run. The WBA and WBC lightweight titles between 87 and 89. The WBC light welterweight title twice between 89 and 96. Wow, that's a hell of a career, and the IBF light welterweight title from 1990 to 1991. He also held the Ring Magazine and Lineal Championship titles uh, lightweight titles from 98 to 89, and the Lineal welterweight title twice between 1990 and 1996. Yeah, Dream. I guess maybe Chavez over Bernard Hopkins, bro.
Yeah,
Man,
but it's just his quality of fights. Just not the quality of fights. I'm sorry, quality opponent. Um, just not enough for me to like. He. I need to get more educated on the smaller guys. Because he
true,
was fighting a
true.
bunch of small guys. But
Yeah.
I mean, like, yeah. So I mean, it's just one thing to take all the good fights just to create like buzz around your name, like Oscar was. But there's one thing to actually beat him, and then you gotta take advantage of opportunity. Once you win, no one can argue about how good or bad you did in that fight. You win, you know. So
Mhm.
you got to look at people's fighters' ability to do that rather than hurt opponents. You got to look at the real. That's why I got Haney over a lot of these fighters because of what he does in the ring. Yeah, it's gonna be like a little, like the like a little pillow fist, but they're points and they're
Pitiful.
racking up, you know. So him is his mentality, or the mentality really is race to seven.
Mhm.
If not, and you're on the other side, you better knock him out. You know, but yeah,
Yeah. All right. Well, that is it for us tonight, guys. For Dream 123 and your interlocutor for the night, Warp Speed
Interlocutor 2.0.
2.0. All right, ladies and gentlemen, be well. Tell the people around you you love them. Make sure you take time to breathe. And I know that we're going through a lot of different stuff around the world right now, guys. Just relax. Because I can't think of a more romantic death than getting nuked. I really can't, right? I mean, think about it. We get nuked, all of us die together.
Hey guys, this is Price Picks. No, I'm just kidding.
All right, guys. Have a wonderful night.
All right, man. Peace.
Peace. I forgot to say engage.